Good morning and namaskar to all participants from Central Public Health and Environmental Engineering Organization, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, Delhi. I can see from the list of on the website around 180 people have joined. So if you allow another 5 minutes, let's have still better participation, and then we can begin the session for the day. Thank you. Okay, good morning again. I was just waiting for the participation list to cross 300, which and since we are finding participation from all kind of stakeholders, the officers from almost across the country. We can see West Bengal, Punjab, Jammu Kashmir. We got stakeholders, other stakeholders like PMUs, the DPR consultants, and also some people from the industry. So thank you all very much for joining us today. आप सबको तहे दिल से मिनिस्टर हाउसिंग अर्बन अफेयर्स की तरफ से नमस्कार। और आज का जो हमारा ये सेशन है उसको मैं शुरू करने से पहले परमिशन लेना चाहूंगा हमारे एडवाइजर श्री डॉक्टर चौरसिया से। तो परमिट सर, वी कैन स्टार्ट।
Yes, Rohit ji, go ahead. And also in the beginning, please make a request that all those consultants who are engaged in DPR preparation and other state people, let them join that. This is going to be very, very important. And the things for implementation of SBM, we are presenting in a very simple way. That will be very, very useful. So a request also again and again that people should join more and more. Thank you. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, sir. It will be almost 3:30 now, and all states and all departments are also requested that maybe if we cross the limit of this session, this session is also being presented on YouTube. So maybe you can ask your other colleagues in the town and in the state government who are interested to join. And as Dr. Chaurasia has said, that it will be very good in case the private sector also participates, and with deep interest, because what we'll be telling today is about now the real part, the real crux of the mission has begun, when all the approvals are almost in place. Now it's a stage of implementation. Okay. So, to begin this initial welcome address, I'm very thankful that you all have found time to join us. And as we all know, the second phase of this mission, called Swachh Bharat Mission Urban, had begun in 2016, and we are almost midway through the this mission. It had begun in 2019, and it was to finish in 2000. In fact, 2021 it began, and 26 is the ending. So 24, we are almost in the middle of this session. The total outlay of the mission was 1.41 crore. There was a central scope, there was a state, and also the urban local body scope in this outlay, which we'll be discussing in the main presentation. Right. So in this particular phase, which was the second phase, which began in 2021, we understand that after a very successful first phase, where the focus was on solid waste management, in this particular phase, while the focus also remains on solid waste management and more efficient solid waste management, used water management has also been given equal weightage. So, and there is where this particular presentation and today's discussion will be more relevant, because when the Honorable Prime Minister gave his dream of having a Viksit Bharat by 2047, we understand that it is now only 23 years left. And believe you me, and all stakeholders and all experts who actually deal with this subject, in case we do not manage our kind of shit, which is the used water management, the Viksit Bharat dream, as we understand from our observation of the experiences of the developed and progressive nation. When we say developed nation, it doesn't only mean the rich nation, it also means the progressive nations like Malaysia, which are equivalent to India in case in terms of financial capacity, and the way they have progressed into this sector is also something which we have observed over the last 15-20 years. And our dreams of becoming a totally developed nation, a Viksit nation, will also depend on us in a significant manner on this particular arrangement about having an efficient used water management practice. Statistically, almost 85% of all the used water management proposals which we have received from the states have been cleared so far. And the other 15% which are not cleared, it is because we have realized that those states have already gone ahead and done a very credible used water management infrastructure has been put in place. And we will be naming those states at a subsequent moment. But we find that those states actually do not require the funds, but they have, because they have already achieved what was expected and what is expected by through this mission from the other states. So this capacity building mission or this capacity building event today, we are after having a look at the DPRs which have come to us and the outline proposals which have come to us, we find that there is a certain variation which immediately needs to be arrested, so that every infrastructure proposal and every infrastructure execution leads to a sensible and significant outcome. So for that purpose, this capacity building event today is very, very important from the point of view of last mile executor, which is the DPR consultant and the local body engineers. So what we'll be talking about in this event for almost next 2 hours will be about we'll sensitize you towards the approach of the used water management from what was in the guidelines of the used water management. Then we'll try to standardize the structure of the DPR so that it gets cleared in the first instance itself at various level, at the SLTC level, as well as when it comes to the ministry for approval. And also there'll be some discussion on a more responsive procurement process. One of the responsibilities of our ministry and CPHU in particular is that we learn from the good practices being taken up by certain states, and we can kind of suggest the same to the other states which have some lag in this matter. Okay. The topics which we have planned they're in such a way that it will both handhold you as well as it will enrich you. So it is not to say that we are the only recipients of all. We'll also have discussions and presentations from the from the states also, so that you can have a occasion of cross learning out here. And we'll, through this entire mechanism of what we have learned and what we have observed, and also from the other speakers, we are expecting that we will enrich your knowledge, and all the officials who will be dealing with implementation will stand benefit. With this introduction, I'll like to welcome all the presenters and participants, which I've already done. And also, I would like to point out one thing for your notice is that now there's a kind of change in the hierarchy of CPHO. The senior management of CPHO now dwells with Dr. V.K. Chaurasia, who's the advisor now. Dr. Deen Dayalan has left this program and this organization. So all your future addresses for any guidance or any kind of intervention, they need to be addressed to Dr. V.K. Chaurasia. In the program of this capacity building workshop, we'll be having sessions after the introduction is given by Joint Secretary, and then in which I'll be speaking about the initial planning, and then Dr. Chaurasia will give you the finer outlines of the legal and other issues dealing with standards and such things. Okay. At the end of the session, we'll have a question and answer event in which we have divided the this particular question region wise, so that all regions can get the chance to speak about their own arrangements and their own local variations. So then at that moment you can take your doubts. But in addition, at any time, in case you find any point which you want to raise your concern, you can definitely put it in the chat box, and somebody will either respond it immediately, or it may take towards the end of the session. So I have already requested you that in case some of your participants, because now we already crossed 500 numbers, so in case some participants are unable to join because of the issue with the bandwidth of this VC, then they can join through the YouTube link. So with this, I thank you all. And I've just been told that our Joint Secretary, she is held up in some senior officers meeting, and she'll join it around 11 o'clock. So we can start the first part of the presentation right now. And after that, as soon as the Joint Secretary joins, she can give her keynote address. So I request Ashish and my friend Manish, if you can start the presentation portion.
और रोहित जी, एक रिक्वेस्ट हम करेंगे, थोड़ा सा मिक्स हिंदी और इंग्लिश दोनों का करेंगे प्रेजेंटेशन में, तो दैट विल बी गुड सम पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, बिकॉज हिंदी बेल्ट में मेनी मतलब पीपल दोज हु आर एट ULB level, they have also joined. So let's see.
We'll do that. Okay, are we ready, Ashish? This is a presentation and everybody can see the presentation. Somebody can confirm from outside if you can see the first slide, the cover slide.
Yes, sir, we can see it.
Thank you, madam. Okay, can you move to the next slide in case we can just see them in a moment? It's coming in full screen to everybody.
Yes.
Okay, Ashish, can you move the slide, or Manish, whoever is controlling this? Go to the next slide.
Ashish is controlling it.
Ashish, can you go to the next slide? I cannot see it, moving forward.
I think it is taking some time in loading. Just 1 minute.
क्या करें?
Arjun, can you share and unshare if it is not happening? Can we just unshare and share again, please?
Please stand by till we correct this glitch.
So meanwhile, I'll share that link of YouTube in the chat box also. You can please share it with the concerned officials, which
Let's go to
already
the next slide now.
spread in the group.
I think sometime in case you can take it off the main full screen, it starts moving. Can you take it to the other that mode, the other display mode, Ashish?
Yes. So it is in presentable mode from our side. I think. There
If
is a
you can take it to the other mode, maybe then it will start moving, because we cannot go to the settings. I'm not able to see the settings side.
आप एक बार ना पीपीटी क्लोज करके पूरा फिर ओपन करिए, वो आपके सिस्टम पे F5 मोड पे ओपन होगा ऑलरेडी।
आशीष मैं शेयर करूं मेरे पास अगर हो स्क्रीन पे?
एक बार आप पीपीटी ना क्लोज कर दीजिए पूरा, वापस ओपन करके उसको फिर F5 करिए।
मेरी समझ से रोहित जी आप उधर शेयर कर दीजिए, दैट इज बेटर।
एक सेकंड, जस्ट अ सेकंड।
we are trying once again.
नहीं वो छोड़ दो, लेट मिस्टर रोहित
छोड़ना आशीष, मैं अपनी साइड से करूं।
Yes, it's fine now. Already there is a bit. Yeah, it's fine. Rohit sir, it's okay now. We can go ahead.
हो गया?
हाँ हो गया है। Arjun, go to next slide, please. Yeah, sir, please start, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, now. Okay, like in my initial welcome also, I had tried to point out what was the reason for this webinar. So, but out here it is well laid out. First of all, there's a need for capacity building of stakeholders, and this is our experience from what we have gauged during the last 6 odd months while your proposals were being received in the ministry. So there's definite need of capacity building, and it is for all of us. It's not that we are trying to point out to you. All of us need our capacities to be built, because this is a huge program, which is not a very, nothing like this has ever been attempted in this country. And maybe like when we say that in case our dream of having a Viksit Bharat needs to fructify, materialize, this capacity needs to build. We cannot go wrong this time, so that we can keep correcting in future. There will be no such, it is expected that, such a massive outreach cannot be replicated again and again. So capacity building needs to be done. Everybody needs to be on the same page. What is our vision? What is our grandeur of the scheme, and what is the practicality of the scheme? So from that particular point, this needs to be done. Approach for UWM, the guidelines are very clear, but sometimes interpretation of guidelines leaves something to be desired because of our understanding. तो जैसे अपने डॉक्टर चौरसिया ने बताया, हिंदी में भी बताना है, तो पहला काम तो हमें कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग का बहुत जरूरी है, बिकॉज आप सबको भी पता है कि हम ये सब मॉडर्न सिस्टम सब आने की टाइम आ गया है, और मॉडर्न सिस्टम्स को हमें भी सीखना है, आपको भी सीखना है, और उनको इम्प्लीमेंट भी करना। साथ साथ जो कैपेसिटी ये भी है कि कोई आपको ऐसा कुछ चीज बता के ना चला जाए जो कि प्रैक्टिकल नहीं है और आपको सिर्फ हवाई किले दिखा के चला जाता है, तो उसके लिए भी, सो दैट एनीबॉडी हु इज टू टेक एनी डिसीजन, ही नीड्स टू बी टोटली क्लियर ऑन व्हाट यूज वाटर मैनेजमेंट इज, क्या हो सकता है, क्या नहीं हो सकता, क्या प्रैक्टिकल है। तो इसके लिए कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग होना बहुत जरूरी है। अप्रोच के बारे में बात था दैट हमारा गाइडलाइंस तो काफी क्लियर था, लेकिन फिर भी क्योंकि कई बार पढ़ने में, कई बार अंडरस्टैंड करने में थोड़ा मुश्किल होता है, तो उसको हम फिर से एक बार रिइटरेट करना चाहते हैं। स्टैंडर्डाइज द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ डीपीआर। दिस इज ऑब्जर्वेशन बाय ऑल ऑफ आवर ऑफिसर्स हु गो दैट कई डीपीआर तो दे आर वेरी फ्लिम्जी, actually they cannot be called a DPR, but just for the sake of approving the financial requirements which have come from the state, we have gone ahead and and tried to be very positive about it. But if this DPR is to be taken for implementation, ये DPR को आप implementation में execution के लिए ले जाने की कोशिश करेंगे, तो आपका सिस्टम बहुत खराब भी हो सकता है। तो इसके लिए एक स्टैंडर्ड स्ट्रक्चर, कुछ DPR बहुत अच्छे बन के भी आए हैं, and this is what we like you to be very clear when the DPR का पोर्शन के बारे में हम आपसे बात करें। और वही जैसे कि है कि इसमें साथ साथ डीपीआर के साथ साथ जो procurement का भी कुछ इश्यूज है कि इसके अंदर हमारी कुछ प्रोक्योरमेंट्स भी हैं, जैसे मशीन्स की प्रोक्योरमेंट है, उसमें भी काफी इंप्रूवमेंट की जरूरत है। सिर्फ एक तरह से सिर्फ बड़े से बड़ा मशीन खरीद देना, पैसा को स्पेंड कर देना, दैट मे नॉट बी द ओनली सॉल्यूशन। यू हैव टू बी वेरी वेरी कॉन्शियस अबाउट व्हाट इज द राइट इक्विपमेंट एंड व्हाट इज द आउटपुट को जो इक्विपमेंट दे सकता है। फिर भी जैसे बताया कि लोग आपके साइन के बता देंगे कि ये तो बहुत ही फैंटास्टिक सा इक्विपमेंट है और इससे आप जो है बहुत महंगा महंगा लोग इक्विपमेंट खरीद रहे हैं, जबकि आपके वहां पर इतना रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं। सो बी वेरी रियलिस्टिक, और क्योंकि ये हम सब पब्लिक मनी के साथ डील कर रहे हैं। देयर इज कंफ्यूजन अबाउट अडॉप्टिंग एफ्लुएंट स्टैंडर्ड्स, एनजीटी स्टैंडर्ड कोई बोलता है, कोई कुछ 2017 स्टैंडर्ड बोलता है। आपको एक बार इसके बारे में आज काफी क्लैरिफिकेशन देना चाहते हैं, एंड मे बी ये आपका लिए एक बहुत बड़ा लर्निंग होगा आज के वेबिनार के जो आपको आज इसमें इस सब्जेक्ट के बारे में बताया जाएगा, इस मैटर के बारे में बताया जाएगा। और ये सबका जो पर्पस अल्टीमेटली ये है कि एक ऐसा डीपीआर, एक ऐसा सिस्टम क्रिएट हो जाए जिससे कि आपकी जहां पे भी क्लियरेंसेस हैं अप्रूवल होने में कोई भी मुश्किल ना हो। ये ना हो कि एसएनटीसी में आप जब कुछ बता रहे हो तो यहाँ से सीपीएचओ को जो मेंबर बैठा होगा he'll be telling something in a different direction, and इसके जो के लिए हम एक अच्छे से सिस्टम, एक वेरी स्टैंडर्डाइज्ड सिस्टम एंड अल्टीमेटली द सिस्टम व्हिच विल वर्क ऑन द ग्राउंड, ऐसा बना के दिखा सकते हैं। नेक्स्ट ये डिटेल है आज के इस वेबिनार की। इसका फर्स्ट हाफ के आसपास तक मैं बात करूंगा, एंड देन डॉक्टर चौरसिया विल टेक ऑन आफ्टर दिस इन द सेकंड क्वेश्चन। नेक्स्ट, सबसे पहले हम बात करते हैं कि जो हमारी गाइडलाइंस थी उसके अंतर्गत टारगेट्स क्या थे। बिल्कुल क्लियर टारगेट्स यूज वाटर मैनेजमेंट के लिए दिए गए कि सभी टाउन्स जो है वो ओडीएफ प्लस प्लस स्टेज तक पहुंच जाए। अब आप सब में से कुछ कंसल्टेंट्स पुराने भी होंगे, नए भी आए होंगे, आप अपने आप भी समझे कि ओडीएफ प्लस प्लस स्टेज क्या है। पहले हमने एक ओडीएफ स्टेज बनाया जिसमें यह था कि आपके यहाँ पे टॉयलेट्स होने चाहिए। देन ओडीएफ प्लस स्टेज बनाया जिसमें ये कहा गया कि जो आपका टॉयलेट्स हैं पब्लिक और कम्युनिटी टॉयलेट्स कम से कम उनकी जो मैनेजमेंट है वो भी एक एफिशिएंट स्टेज। और अब उसके भी नेक्स्ट स्टेज पे जाके ओडीएफ प्लस प्लस जो स्टेज था उस पर हम आपको लाना चाहते थे कि ये 100% जितने भी टाउन्स हैं उनको ओडीएफ प्लस प्लस स्टेज हो जाए। उसके लिए जो भी एक्सपेंडिचर का रिक्वायरमेंट होगा इट हैज टू बी मेट थ्रू दी SBM-U 2.0 मिशन। और इसके में से 50% टाउन्स ऐसे होंगे जो कि वाटर प्लस होंगे। दैट मीन्स कि जो है उनके अंदर कोई भी ऐसा यूज वाटर नहीं होगा जो कि ट्रीटेड नहीं हो पाए। ठीक है, जितना भी आपका यूज वाटर आपने निकाला, जितना भी आपने कंज्यूम किया म्युनिसिपल यूज वाटर कहीं से, अब जैसे कई टाउन्स में हिल्स में होता है, दिल्ली में होता है, हंड्रेड्स ऑफ किलोमीटर से पानी लाया जाता है और उसको एक दिन थोड़ा सा यूज किया जाता है कि सिर्फ पानी पीने के लिए या किचन में यूज हुआ और उसके बाद उसको थ्रो आउट कर दिया। और वो जितना मेहनत से पानी इतना दूर से लाया गया उस पानी को विद मिनिमल एफर्ट हम उसको वापस जो है अच्छा पानी बना सकते हैं। तो उसको कम से कम जितना भी आपका पास पानी आपने यूज किया उसको आपने ट्रीट तो करना ही है इससे पहले कि आप उसका नेक्स्ट चाहे यूज करना है या डिस्पोजल करना है तो वो करें। और तीसरा एलिमेंट इसके अंदर था क्योंकि हमारी जो रिवर्स थी, पॉन्ड्स थे, ये इसके अंदर काफी गंदगी इस तरह के पानी की जाके एक्यूमुलेट हो रही थी। तो कोई भी वाटर बॉडी के अंदर जो है पानी जो जाता है वो तो ट्रीटमेंट होने के साथ जाना ही है, चाहे वो 50% टाउन्स में हो या टाउन्स में भी। वाटर बॉडी में तो कोई भी पानी यूज वाटर जो है बिना ट्रीटमेंट के जाएगा नहीं। तो ये 3 एलिमेंट्स थे इसके अंडर द ऑपरेशनल गाइड्स। नेक्स्ट, अब इसके अंदर फंडिंग का जैसे था कि 1.41 लाख करोड़ का ये पूरा आउटले था, लेकिन इसमें कुछ कंपोनेंट्स जो सेंट्रल फंडिंग के थे और कुछ फंडिंग जो थी नीचे जैसे बताया गया कि वो स्टेट्स को मैनेज करने से, चाहे वो अपने रिसोर्सेज से करें, चाहे वो 15 फाइनेंस कमीशन के ग्रांट से करें, यूएलबी के पास भी अगर आप रिसोर्सेज हो सकते हैं। अल्टीमेटली देखिए, कोई भी डेवलप्ड नेशन से आप बात करें या कोई भी डेवलप्ड नेशन या प्रोग्रेसिव नेशन के टाउन से बात करें तो जो यूएलबी होता है वो अपने फंड्स जनरेट करने की कहीं ना कहीं से कोशिश करता है, चाहे डायरेक्टली जनरेट करे, इनडायरेक्टली जनरेट करे, वो हमें आपको इस मतलब बताने की जरूरत नहीं है। ये कहना कि हमारे यहाँ से कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता, तो इससे हमें नेक्स्ट स्टेज पे पहुंचना बहुत जरूरी था, बिकॉज दिस वाज वन ऑफ द सपोज्ड आउटकम्स ऑफ दिस मिशन। और अगर हम अगेन व्हेन वी ड्रीम ऑफ दैट विकसित भारत, अगर हम ये सोचेंगे कि हम सिर्फ एक पॉइंट से पैसा जो आता रहेगा तो एंड देयर विल बी नो कंट्रीब्यूशन, फंडिंग कहीं पे अपना नहीं होगा, तो दैट मे नॉट बी इन द राइट स्पिरिट। और यही दोनों मिशन, चाहे वो अमृत का हो या स्वच्छ भारत मिशन का हो, उनका एक जेनरिक प्रिंसिपल भी यही है। अब जो हमारी तरफ से कह सकते हैं, सेंटर की तरफ से जो फंडिंग था, मिनिस्ट्री हाउसिंग के थ्रू जो फंडिंग हुआ था, उसमें हम ये कह रहे थे कि 50% जो आपका सीवर ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट का रिक्वायरमेंट है, और इंक्लूडिंग कि कहीं पे आपको ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट नहीं भी है और आपने सेप्टेज को भी मैनेज करना है, उसको भी को ट्रीट करना है उस यूनिट के अंदर, उसके लिए भी जो रिक्वायरमेंट पड़ेगी, उसके लिए हम जो है 50% फंडिंग देने this was to come from the center, and the other 50% was to be managed by the state and the UN. Then जहां पे नेटवर्क नहीं हो सकता, जैसे कि फ्रिंज एरियाज वगैरह होते हैं बाहर का एरिया में, वहां पे हम भी नहीं चाहते कि अभी आप नेटवर्क करें, टेम्परेरीली जहां पर अरेंजमेंट करना है, वहां पे हम एक इंटरसेक्शन और डाइवर्जन का एक सिस्टम आगे भी समझाया जाएगा। पहले भी काफी डिटेल में वी हैड presentations during the last year. If you remember, after the mission was launched in 21-22 में हमने कितनी बार इसके बारे में रीजन्स में, स्टेट लेवल पे सब जगह से इसको बात, what are these interception diversion, and many of your engineers are definitely more aware about such things. इनके ऊपर भी जो खर्चा होना था, उसका भी 50% share was to be borne by the central government, that is through this SBM-U by the central government. And desludging vehicles does not mean only that जिसको हम कुछ जगह सेसपूल व्हीकल बोलते हैं और कुछ जगह सेप्टिक टैंक एम्प्टिंग व्हीकल बोलते हैं। desludging vehicle means any kind of sludge, चाहे आपके सीवर्स में स्लज हो या व्हीकल हो या फिर इक्विपमेंट हो, जहां पे जरूरी नहीं है कि आपको सब में व्हीकल ही आपको लेना है, आपको ट्रैक्टर के पीछे की तरफ ट्रॉली लेना है जिसके ऊपर आपने माउंट कर रखा है, एनी काइंड ऑफ इक्विपमेंट जो कि डीस्लजिंग। तो ये भी एक, जैसे हमने बताया कि कई बार डीपीआर समझने में मुश्किल होता है, कई बार जानबूझ कर समझना नहीं चाहते, तो डीस्लजिंग व्हीकल्स का जो कंपोनेंट हमने, जिसमें अगेन 50% कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट से है, उसमें एनी काइंड ऑफ, आपको सेफ्टी गियर लेना है, आपको अंदर जाने वाला आदमी के लिए जो है बॉडी सूट लेना है, वो सब चीज जो है वो भी आप इसके थ्रू ले सकते हैं। और इसके साथ साथ छोटी जो इक्विपमेंट होती है, जो कि आपकी पोर्टेबल इक्विपमेंट होती है, जैसे कि रॉडिंग मशीन हो गई, सिर्फ उसमें आपको कोई गाड़ी का जरूरत नहीं है, आपको सिर्फ एक रॉडिंग मशीन जो है बहुत कम कीमत पे फैब्रिकेट भी किया जा सकता है और प्रोक्योर भी किया जा सकता है। इस तरह का इक्विपमेंट भी अगर आप लेना चाहें, ये भी इस रिसोर्स के थ्रू लिया जा सकता है। बट एट द सेम टाइम देयर वाज अ एक्सपेक्टेड कमिटमेंट। जब ये मिशन लॉन्च होता है तो मिशन में दोनों पार्टीज के बीच में एक एग्रीमेंट होता है। इट वाज एग्रीड कि आप जो है, जब इतना सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट से आपको शेयर मिलेगा, तो आपको उसके जो करस्पॉन्डिंग जो सीवर नेटवर्क है वो आप अपना डेवलप करेंगे। जहाँ पे एसटीपी है, तो एसटीपी तो तभी जब उसमें सीवर के थ्रू पानी जा पाएगा। अगर हम उसको बिना सीवर के एसटीपी बना देंगे तो उसमें पानी कहाँ से जाएगा? ठीक है, तो वो एक एलिमेंट था। दूसरा था कि जहां पे अभी सीवर नहीं भी बन सकता, टेम्परेरीली हमें जैसे हमने बताया कि जहाँ पे बहुत कम कॉन्सेंट्रेशन का पानी आ रहा है, लोगों का रहना जो है इज वेरी डिस्पर्स्ड, मतलब वहां पे जो डेंसिटी ऑफ पॉपुलेशन इज लेस, वहां पे अगर म्युनिसिपल ड्रेन्स के अंदर में थोड़ा बहुत डिस्चार्ज हुआ है, और एक हिस्टोरिक नॉर्म की तरह हमारे प्रैक्टिस रहा है छोटे टाउन्स में कि आप इसके अंदर म्युनिसिपल ड्रेन्स में अपना सेप्टिक टैंक के बाद का पानी बहा दें, तो उसको भी अगर उसमें पानी बह रहा है और इससे पहले कि वो पानी किसी नदी को या पॉन्ड को या ऐसे वाटर बॉडी को खराब करे, उससे पहले इन म्युनिसिपल ड्रेन्स की थोड़ी मरम्मत किया जा सकता है, और उसको स्ट्रेंथन करके उसको उसकी लाइनिंग करके, और ये सब में जो भी एक्सपेंडिचर लगता है, इसको आप थोड़ा सा ठीक करने का खर्चा भी जो है स्टेट अपने आप उठाएगा। और उसके साथ जो है पानी जितना भी हो सकेगा उन ड्रेन्स के थ्रू या कैसे करके वो नियर बाय सीवर नेटवर्क में भी अगर डालना पड़ता है, तो वो भी इस एलिमेंट के लिए भी जो एक्सपेंडिचर होगा वो इधर 15th फाइनेंस कमीशन या स्टेट के अपने फंड्स और इन सब से किया जाए। नेक्स्ट, so just take off knowledge, because everybody is not going to get this fund, but the overall picture was that we had a huge mission which was almost 2 times plus the cost of the original Swachh Bharat mission, which ran from 2014 to 2019. And then this time we had 1.41 lakh crore as a total mission outlay, and including a central share of almost 37,000 crores for the 3 elements which we had just mentioned in the previous slide. In addition, there was 37,000 or 38,000 crore available as tide grants of the 15th Finance Commission. So this was also spent on from the state side for the used water management. And then we had use water management as well as solid waste management. Then we have cities funds, which was most of it was for solid waste management. So let's not discuss this. But there's a huge amount available annually, which is called the Urban Infrastructure Development Fund. So if in case any city which has got a population more than 50,000 was to need any additional resources for which their states and ULPs were unable to manage, so they were to seek this UIDF fund from this ministry. And for this, a proper justification was to be made that why this other funds, 15th Finance Commission or any other resources which are available with the state, they are not available. So there was no dearth of money. If you can see all this, there was adequate money available to. There is adequate money available so that we can run a very successful mission and make our citizens very proud to have a very efficient use water management system in their jurisdiction or in their town. Thank you. Next. Okay. Now, if we see the approval status during the last almost 1 year, we have started approving all these UWMs. There are 33 states in which UWM projects were to be taken up. Among these, 28 states had given their these schemes to us. And these have been approved. If you see the total mission allocation for the used water management is around 16,000 crore, out of which around 15,000 crore worth of schemes have been appraised. And under this, 10,688 MLD of sewage treatment plant and 16,850 plus around 2,166 these vehicles under the desludging vehicles have been acquired, have been appraised. Basically, they are appraised. They are with the money is being released to the states and cities, and these are to be acquired. And out of the 15,883 crores, of which this appraisal is 14,816, but central sanction has been for 13,655. We have removed some frivolous expenditure components. So this is the amount of money which has been spent. On almost 2,000 crore which is left with us is for the other 5 states, and because we realize that some of them may not be in need of these resources, or some of these resources, because they already have the SPPs and sewer networks. Next. So again, coming back to the mission objective, which was also given in the guidelines, was that the used water, which is earlier we used to call it sewage, but wastewater is safely collected, treated, and reused. And this, the collected portion was that in case, like if in the previous slide I said that almost 10,833 MLD of STP infrastructure has been cleared by us, it was expected that it will also correspond to almost 55,000 kilometers of sewers being laid in the same cities as a thumb rule. So 55,000 kilometers new sewer lines should have been laid, and thus our proposal should have come for this particular element. Obviously, the funding would have been made available by the state through their 15th Finance Commission and other resources, but very small amount, in fact, almost negligible amount of negligible amount of sewer lengths have been proposed. So this is something which we want our senior officers from the states to have a look at in case we do come up with the sewage treatment plants without sewer networks. So in future, you will find that these sewage treatment plants will be functioning inefficiently. And again, the objective of the mission and the dream of the Prime Minister will be affected by this. Second element was that the fecal matter and septage is properly collected, treated, and the byproducts are used. So for this, that is also permissible, that whatever is being deposited in the septic tank and whatever is the content of a septic tank, which is septage, is properly collected and treated. We'll have a discussion on this. And finally, mechanical cleaning of has been used as a generic term, but it is also a budget statement which was made. So now coming to the the theory part of it, we all understand that there would be various types of used water management practices in any typical urban locality. एक शहर अलग अलग तरीके का यूज वाटर मैनेजमेंट प्रैक्टिस हो सकता है. सब टाउन्स में सब चीजें नहीं होंगी, लेकिन कुछ टाउन्स में कुछ हाई राइज एरियाज होंगे, मोस्टली बड़े टाउन्स में ही होते हैं, Then there will be some areas which are business areas, which are called institutional areas. या कोई कॉलेज है बहुत बड़ा, उसका कैंपस हो सकता है जिसके अंदर या बिजनेस के कैंपस हो गए, SEZ हो गए, इस तरह के अरेंजमेंट्स होते हैं जो थोड़ा इंडस्ट्री प्लस इंस्टीट्यूशंस प्लस रेजिडेंशियल सबका मिक्स होता है. देन एक साइड में जैसे दिखाया कि इसमें आपके रेजिडेंशियल पॉकेट्स हो सकते हैं, ये अलग अलग तरह के हो सकते हैं, हाई राइज भी हो सकते हैं, मीडियम राइज भी हो सकते हैं, और ये स्लम टाइप का भी अरेंजमेंट हो सकता है. देन देयर आर दीज रिबन डेवलपमेंट एरिया जो कि सड़क के किनारे रो हाउसेस होते हैं, उस तरह का अरेंजमेंट हो सकते हैं. तो वेरियस टाइप्स ऑफ अरेंजमेंट जो होते हैं किसी भी टाउन में हो सकते हैं, और हर एक को मैनेज करने के लिए, यूज वाटर मैनेजमेंट करने के लिए, इन सबको लिए आपके लिए अलग अलग तरीके हो सकते हैं. नेक्स्ट, जनरली हमारा जो के अंदर वी हैव एग्रीड टू दिस दैट देयर कैन बी टू टाइप्स ऑफ ऑप्शंस व्हिच आर अवेलेबल टू अस. इट इज जनरली इन एटलीस्ट इन अर्बन एरियाज. एक तो है कि हम प्रॉपरली उसको घरों से कलेक्ट करें सीवर्स के थ्रू, और उसको सेंट्रलाइज या डिसेंट्रलाइज जैसी भी रिक्वायरमेंट हो, हम उसका असली वर्ड होना चाहिए लोकलाइज या रीजनलाइज, जैसी रिक्वायरमेंट है. बिकॉज फाइनेंस कितना है, कितना लोड आ रहा है उसका, व्हाट इज दी कॉस्ट बेनिफिट, बिकॉज समबडी कैन से डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन इज गुड, लेकिन दूसरी साइड ये भी बात मानने का है कि भाई जो इंडस्ट्री होता है वो हर टाउन के अंदर तो सीमेंट लेता, वो तो सेंट्रली सीमेंट प्लांट लगाता है, और वहां से आपको लाना में उसको लगता है कि दैट विल टर्न आउट टू बी चीपर. सो सिमिलरली यू कैन हैव call on this, and especially in small towns ज्यादा डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन करने का कोई स्कोप नहीं है, खासकर स्वच्छ भारत मिशन के टाउन्स में, एक्सेप्ट फॉर कोई अगर कोई नेचुरल ऑब्स्टेकल एक ऐसा आ गया कि एक हाफ ऑफ टाउन में एक STP लगाना है और दूसरे टाउन हाफ में कुछ और रिक्वायरमेंट है, ऐसा किया जा सकता है. तो दिस इज one mechanism which is called off-site sanitation system. Then there is a on-site sanitation system जिसको कुछ लोग non-sewer sanitation भी बोलते हैं, जिसमें सेप्टिक टैंक और के साथ साथ एक सोक पिट होता है, और उसके अलावा जो है एक ट्विन पिट्स को भी कुछ जगह पे अलाउ किया गया है. लेकिन अर्बन एरिया में बिल्कुल ही कोई फ्रिंज में बहुत ही छोटा टाउन है, बहुत कम डेंसिटी कहीं पे हो, वहां पे दिस इज समथिंग व्हिच वी कैन एक्सपेक्ट कि ये इस चीज को ये काम कर सकेगा. बाहर तो इसको अर्बन एरिया में कहीं भी परमिट नहीं किया जाएगा, when we compare with developed nations and progressive nations.
Rohit, JS has joined, so let us welcome JS, and I think she has other engagements also, so we will request.
We can, I can then stop now, and we will request the JS to give her keynote on this.
Ma'am, namaskar. Are you able to hear? Hello. Yes, ma'am. Namaskar, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am. Already around 700 people have joined. They are from various state ULB and also from private sector. We have just started and we were giving some of the brief because some people may be new also as a transferable job. So, ma'am, now can we request that you address this audience and how to give your direction that how to we should take up Swachh Bharat mission so that within mission period we can achieve that objective. Yes.
Thank you, Chaurasya ji. Namaskar. It is indeed heartening to see that around 750 participants have joined this discussion. That shows your sincerity and commitment to take forward this particular aspect of very important discussion, which is used water management in small cities of India. As everybody would appreciate, for almost 50, 60, 70 years, we have spoken of sewage, drainage, STPs, treatment, recycle, and primarily under the ambit of PHE, Public Health Engineering, which is a very strong arm of government machinery in this sector, but focusing on large cities. So drinking water supply, drainage, sewerage in large cities has been a focus in the nation for over 5 decades now. As the cities are growing and as the number of urban cities are growing, more number of small cities are becoming urban, peri-urban areas are increasing, we cannot anymore close our eyes to small cities. So even though it is a 70-30, which may become whatever percentage as we move on, it is important that we plan and start the work of used water management right away in small cities. Now, in small cities, the challenges are of a different nature, and all of you know it very, very well because you are all working on the ground. So to give a fillip to this, it was decided by the Union Cabinet to incorporate used water management along with safe sanitation in small cities of India as an arm under Swachh Bharat mission. I would like to emphasize here that whether it is funding under Amrit or it is funding under SBM or it is funding under National Clean Ganga Mission, it is important that field functionaries look at it as a whole, the subject as a whole. The moment you break the subject, the planning goes wrong, the implementation will never be proper. So the first point I would like to emphasize is holistic planning by the state government, providing the necessary support to the urban local bodies to plan well for used water management. Because this is not something where you are just doing a road. This is not something where you are just doing a standalone bridge. This is something which is absolutely intertwined with the geology of the area, the water flow of the area, the drainage systems, the kind of soil, the kind of absorption, the kind of rainfall, topography, etc., etc., etc. So given this, master plan is very important. So why this webinar today? This webinar is has been planned today with a lot of serious concern about few aspects. When I say concern, it is not in a negative way, but in a positive way. Today, as we speak, around 80-85% of the action plan of all the small cities of the country, and I would like to congratulate states and cities for that, have already been approved administratively and financially for a go-ahead from Government of India. So given that the work is 2 years of SBM is over, the overall action plans almost 80-85% is done. So which means we have clean 3 years to do actual ground implementation. And to do actual ground implementation, we will require DPRs, we will require good procurement, we will need timely implementation. I am pained to see that in some states, in some projects, even after 10 years of Swachh Bharat, we are showing a toilet complex as incomplete. We are showing small projects as incomplete. We cannot afford to do that. We have reached the moon already. We are targeting to be one of the top economies of the world. We cannot have a situation where our projects, which are small projects, can take anything beyond 24 months, 18 months to 24 months. So ranging from 6 months to 24 months is our entire gamut. So how do we bring in efficiency of implementation will be the second aspect, which today in the webinar, I will expect all the participants to give their inputs. The third thing I will like to emphasize is the whole approach. In order to do something, we cannot do faulty designs. We cannot have a faulty approach. We cannot be so short-term in our vision that the entire public money just goes down the drain. So what is the correct approach? What is the correct technology? Let us have a master plan. We may do one part of it as a short-term measure today. We may not have the bandwidth to do it immediately in the next 3 years. No problem. More funds will come after 3 years. These sectors will never close. These sectors, money will always keep on coming up. So what kind of approach to have a correct design and a correct approach towards technology and to the outcomes that we wish to is the third thing that I would like to emphasize. And for that, I will be happy to see the feedback that all of you give. The next thing I would like to emphasize is there are some things which will help us to do implementation fast. And for that, we will need to standardize certain things. Can we support you in standardization of tender documents? Can we support you further? Will it help you if we standardize certain protocols? Will it help all of you in your implementation if we give some modern designs, model designs, type designs, etc., etc.? So what are those tools that we can standardize together as a national team? When I say national, ULB, state, industry, input, and Government of India together as a team. How can we standardize things so that there is also cost savings? There is not wide variation. The same thing done in one place at X rupees, the same thing done at another place at 10x rupees, the same solution bringing the good results in, let us say, X investment, the same investment which is 10 times more and giving the same outcomes. So standardization in the sector, to the extent that it has a flexibility of local adaptation for variations, is something which I would like to flag for all of you to discuss in this webinar. Another very, very important thing, you and me are discussing here. You have come here, you might be knowing some things, Chaurasia ji might be telling some things, states will tell certain things, but on the ground, who are the people that are going to implement? Do they have capacity? Do our private sector participants who will be working on the ground, what about their capacity? What about their skill set? What about their teams that are there on ground? So capacity building overall for this sector, what are the requirements? And what are the interventions that we need to do from center, from state, from urban local body, technical institution role, etc. And when I say capacity, again, as I have already emphasized, I'm not speaking only of, let us say, SBM funded capacity. No, again, we have to look at capacity as a whole. Capacity of parastatals, capacity of private sectors, capacity of administrators, of technocrats, etc., etc. What do we need about that? So please discuss that, and I will be looking for feedback again. And for this, we need to continuously work. Another important issue that comes is, let us say, if we look at the whole aspect of ease of doing business or single window approvals, that same aspect also applies to used water management projects. What can we do for fast identification of land, handing over of land, clearances at every level, approval of every level? Today, what is the time that we are taking on an average pre-project time? How many years are we taking? How do we squeeze it to, let us say, 25% of the current time? We need to act in those lines. And for that, I would request all of you to discuss and do an honest assessment. Today, it is not a review. Today, it is about brainstorming as a team on the main issues that we have and how we sort of overcome it. And also, most of you would be aware that from today, we are starting roundtables with various stakeholders. These subjects will again be taken up during the focused thematic roundtables, which are scheduled in the next week. So broad, what are our major problem areas and how do we target them? To be able to target them, there will be some policy requirements, there will be some implementation requirements, there will be some financial requirements, there will be some industry flexibilities that will have to be brought in, etc., etc. So please bring forth those. Our team today from CPHO will be sharing mostly the technical framework of good implementation. And for that, while they share it, I will be very keen to be looking at inputs from the different stakeholders who are here to identify the major areas that need attention together as a sector. And my last point, which I would like to highlight is, look, we have to somewhere align with national goals. As a nation, what is our goal? We have said India net zero emission by 2070. We are looking at a vision, India developed nation by 2047. So today, if we look as engineers, as bureaucrats, as private sector players, as parastatal partners, where are we seeing this sector going in another 20 years, in 30 years, in 40 years? Will we be operating the way we are operating today, or we will be operating differently? How will we need to fund our projects? What kind of structuring of PPP needs to come in? What kind of flexible financing can we bring in? What kind of instruments can be brought into the sector for modern implementation? So different things, even we are talking of green credits. These are perfect projects to earn green credits. So there are hundreds of aspects that can be touched. Not everything will have a solution, but we can start a discussion on those lines. Many of them can have immediate solutions straight away. For example, if you all say that we would like to take 10 cities on a pilot competition mode for which we want additional funding, fine, propose it. Tell us how you will implement that. We are ready to go. So we are ready to walk the extra mile to reach our outcomes. We expect this team to do the technical and the required administrative deliberation, keeping in view also the industry requirements, the specific requirements of cities and states, and come up with some kind of a blueprint in another 15 days time once the roundtables get over as to what is the need of this sector and what are the things that are doable. So with these points, I leave all of you to take forward your discussions, and I really hope that by the end of this webinar you will have a clear pro forma of how you will have regular interactions. Monthly interactions is extremely important. The way we can have monthly interactions with you, similarly states can have with cities, cities can have down below, projects can be accordingly reviewed, but review of project is not the only agenda. The agenda is bigger. The agenda is how do we improve this sector and reach our outcomes. So if Honorable Prime Minister has mentioned that not a single drop of used water should go untreated into the water body, how can we work backwards and actually achieve that vision? So all the best to all of you. I thank CPHO for leading this initiative, and I will request everybody, you create some kind of a mechanism, either an email ID or something, so that people can keep giving feedback. And when you give feedback, don't write general things. Cities need more funds. Write specifics. When you are giving a feedback to Government of India, you please write very clearly. Today, let us say there is a particular funding mechanism, 25, 30, 50, etc., etc. What is your feedback on that? How it should be enhanced or how it should be made more flexible, etc. Please give some more details so that we can actually make use of your recommendation. So all the very best to you, Chaurasia ji and team. You can continue right now.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. Just for sharing 1 or 2 points, ma'am. Regarding as you mentioned, regarding the holistic planning and working with vision. So on the similar line, in this webinar, we have done our homework, and we are going to share that how using model DPR, model tender document, which we have prepared even for STP also and for IND and sewer network also separately, all 3 sets. Apart from that, the most challenging thing in state's mind had been that what is standard, what to follow, what technology. These things today we have done our homework. We are going to explain in very threadbare, and we will ensure that everybody have no doubt after going from this webinar. And also we are trying to present that how to achieve these tasks in a very simple way. This roadmap we are going to present that often it appears that how to safely manage our sanitation, and it appears to be a very, very unsurmountable task and difficult in terms of cost also, time also. Those things we are going to share, ma'am. And also we are having certain examples also that will create confidence in ULBs. Apart from that, everything whatever we are talking is supported by some working example. It is not something that from paper we are reading and doing. And at the end of this, we will also try to invite some of these states to see some of the good practices, so that they also realize that in lesser cost with lesser O&M also safely managed sanitation goals can be achieved. So we have to think from a different that how we should put our engineering skill and capacity from center state so that we can achieve the goal within mission period, madam. For that we are working. Thank you very much for your time.
Fine, Chaurasia ji, I'll just say one point. In the entire approach of Swachh Bharat, there is enough scope for each state to take care of their own local specific requirements. So any kind of a flexible planning to meet your local requirements is absolutely the call of the state, provided you have done your due diligence and you're sure that you are going to meet those outcomes. So fine, all the best to all of you. And you please also identify and you can share about your roundtables. Your roundtable constitution has been made to an extent, but you can always increase those compositions and constitutions. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Rohit ji. Please bring back presentation. We will continue from there. Rohit ji, thoda sa slightly we have to expedite. So we are running slightly late. So let us see that how we can manage, and important point we can touch and we can go ahead. Thank you. Rohit ji, are you able to hear? Okay. In between, one thing I would like to mention that regarding this standards matter, we will be dealing in detail that what are the NGT things, what is that prevailing different, let us say, notifications, and then what are the powers for state pollution control board, central pollution control board, and even at the Ministry of Environment, forest level and other. Those. So you bring that, I will explain.
Sir, he had got disconnected, it seems. So he will be joining, sir. He will be joining.
Okay. Okay. Joining in 1 minute, he has to disconnect and join. So please wait, he is going to join. इसमें 2-3 information more I would like to share that we have developed one management advisory that we are going to release after wide consultation. Apart from this type design, also we have developed for all 10 technologies that are available for used water management. Initially, you might have seen after this NGT things came and people only, let us say, get confused that how to go about what is technology. In the meantime, because of this lack of clarity, many people went for only very high-end technology and other. So because of the technologies which are more suitable for the smaller town and ULBs. So those things, Rohit ji, you are ready?
I'm ready.
Yes, so those were left out, that also we are going to take. So you please explain. After that, I will come back. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. We had a wonderful interaction from the Joint Secretary, and she has been unequivocal and very clear in her expression of what is expected. So I presume that all the state officials and the directorates, they get the sense of how this, how serious we are about this particular subject. So coming back to the nitties and gritties of this used water management as expected under the Swachh Bharat mission, so as to achieve the objective of the mission, are that we can have two used water management options, which everybody knows, and I need not explain to you, except for what Dr. Chorachia just tried to say, that we need to keep it simple. As we are small, it's not that we, just because we have the funds available to us, we need to go in for massive projects. Then we need to keep a simple solution. The simple solutions are that we can have a network solution which end up in a simple sewage treatment facility, which we'll be discussing later, or we can have an on-site sanitation system depending on the need of the place. Depending on the need of the place, and for that the local authority has to take a call. Do you at a certain density of population, number of dense areas, area of a town, you want to continue with the septic tank and soak pit based system, through which the pollution definitely is getting into our environment, and that pollution is getting transferred to our in our neighborhood. Or we can go in for a very efficient system where all this pollution wastewater is taken out and it is taken to a proper treatment facility where it gets treated, and as well as in future we can have multiple options for reusing. Next. So if we discuss the on-site system, like I said, there are generally two options which are. Tank is a kind of a holding tank made out of it should be made out of RCC, reinforced concrete underground tank, but sometimes we only have a RCC base and we have a masonry structure because of to save cost, and that also needs to be checked by the municipal body, that the privately owned these septic tanks, are they being executed as per the provisions of the IS code and as per the generally acceptable practices, or is it just for the sake of naming that it's a septic tank and any kind of structure is being. Anyway, this is one option, that you have a septic tank, and at a periodic interval based on the volume of the septic tank and the kind of usage it is subject to, you can connect the septage in this tanker, and this tanker conveys it to a appropriate treatment facility, which could be a ideally should be a sewage treatment plant in the neighborhood. Or we can have an on-site package treatment system, which is also available now in this country at a reasonable cost, because more and more usages of this package treatment systems, the industry is able to make it cost. So this package treatment system is there. It does require some energy, but it is a full-fledged treatment plant at your own doorstep. Slightly more costly, considerably more costly than the septic tank, but these are also available. And if where the septic tanks are not working efficiently and where the willingness is there to pay, this could also be looked in. Next. Next.
Hello.
Ashish, oh, thank you. Or we can have a, okay, in this, while we say, use this vehicle sludge septage management. And as I just expressed, and most of us would be knowing, that septage is something which is the accumulation within the septic tank, and this sludge is something which is settling at the bottom of the septic tank. So if we have to manage the sludge as well as septage, so we can have this vehicle which can take the content on that particular day. The content would be comprising of the bottom sludge as well as septage, which is contained on that particular day, which is very, very small quantity. It can convey it to the treatment plant and it can be dealt with. Fine. But on a daily, the septage is flowing out of the treatment facility, which is called a septic tank. Basically, septic tank is just a holding tank. More water you put in, more water will come out. Now, this water which is going out, in case that is not treated, and that water has got almost the same characteristic as what is inside this tank. So, how can we ignore this? That outlet, water, it can flow into any drain, because that is almost, even if the septic tank is very efficient and works at 50% treatment, even with 50% treatment, the other 50% gets conveyed to the. So until unless we have a system in place where there is a management of this septage and this effluent through the stroke well system, which can safely transport it to the under subsurface of the earth, and through that, it gets dispersed and then it is safely managed. So this is something which is a necessary component of when we say of actual or real fecal sludge and septage management. Because if Dr. Chaurasia would also point out that 90% of your pollution over that period, when you ultimately decide to clean up this tank, the 90% pollution or even more has already been conveyed out of this. If that 90% pollution is to flow into our surface drains and then into our water bodies, then this is no efficient fecal sludge and septage management. You can have a sludge management through this vehicle, but septage management also needs to be taken consideration. If you see the international practice, they have a septic tank which has to be followed by a drainage field. And like I was studying some days ago, 70 feet of drainage length is required per toilet, one single toilet. Basically, 2 people using a septic tank. Every household needs to have a 70 feet long drainage field. So with that is the kind of space and area need which this arrangement, if it is to be working efficiently, should be having. And if this is only possible in fringe areas, where the density of households are less, and we can have larger properties. We can actually lay a 70 feet long length of pipeline for this drainage arrangement per toilet. So suppose I got 3 toilets in my house or 2 toilets in my house, requirement is there. So please have a real consideration of this when we are told that we are doing a FSSN. So are you also dealing with the septage, which is 90% getting out? So this is very important. Next. Next, please. And then we all know about the off-site sanitation system, which is called a seaward sanitation, where the necessary houses, ranging from a certain percentage to the entire town, that discharge gets collected from the house outlet of the premises itself into sewers, underground sewers, and then it is safely conveyed to a sewage treatment plant where the water gets fit for secondary use or discharge as needed, and the solids which is basically a sludge in the sewage, that gets managed in a sludge drying beds, and then it is also available for the secondary use. So basically this arrangement gives us assured full collection as well as full management options are available. Next. Next, okay. So now this is the critical part of our this mission approach. See, everybody, before the mission started, there was this conventional approach when we used to talk about sewer systems and sewage treatment plants. Aim of the whenever the funds were made available, the aim was that we'll provide sewerage which will cover the entire town. So Haridwar town is there. If you give them some JICA funds or something, 100% of Haridwar town will be covered with sewer. That is the planning approach. And the second approach was that we'll cater for a 30 years futuristic demand. So in 1950s, 60s, when moving so fast, it was decided that because these are major infrastructure, that we should have a 30-year horizon, and for that we should start creating the infrastructure today. So whenever this proposal was taken to the administrators and to the finance, they would shoot it down, saying that this kind of money is not available because we had so many competing requirements, and that is one major reason that we were lagging in this field in this country for so many years. But now when the mission approach for the SBM 2.0 came up, we decided to have a slightly different this entire practice. Next. Next. Ashish, आगे बढ़िए. So now our approach under SBM 2.0 is, yes. So now our approach, if you can see, we are saying that you need not, at least in the smaller town, and this core area will increase, between the smaller towns and Amrut towns. So when we discuss a small town, which is a Swachh Bharat Mission town, population less than 1 lakh, what we are saying is that since your density is generally less at an average, and then there's one core area of any town which can be an irregular shape. It need not be a circle like this or a structure like this. It can be in any kind of shape, but it covers generally around 20 to 30% of the population, where 50 to 70% of your citizens would be residing. It could be called the old area of the city, the center of the city, the commercial, the market area of the city, where congestion is there. So this is called core area. Then outside the core area, other area is called the outskirts. And then still further, there are these fringe urbanized pockets. And this is typical for any urban system, which is for a small population, that there's a small core area. Most of it, these outskirts are sparsely populated, and then along the main roads which are leading outside the town, some small pockets are there which are called fringe urbanized pockets will be there, but development, few houses, from ranging from few tens to hundreds of some localities there. So this is a typical arrangement. So what we have typically under Swachh Bharat Mission, our vision should be that this core area will connect to a sewage treatment plant through the underground sewer network. And this the advantage of this is that the length of sewer required per capita will be drastically reduced. In case we try to cover the full town, the length of sewer required per person could be, like in Europe, it is around 8 meters per person. But in core area, what we are trying to say is that we want to only deal with those areas in which within 1 meter per person, the sewer can be effectively laid. So with this arrangement, we'll have the sewer areas in the core, which could be the densely populated area, and this sewage is taken to the sewage treatment plant through the underground sewers. And the outskirts, we continue site system. Because the density is very, very less, we can have area for soak pits, we can have area for this drainage fields, and open areas are also there. And in case some wrong practices continue where people are discharging into the surface drains, which are actually meant only for stormwater drainage, and these surface drains are leading to some water body, so we can have a system of interception of these major surface drains. Not all small surface drains have to be tapped, because ultimately these small surface drains will just dry out, or even if small amount of discharge gets into a water body, that is not going to cause a major pollution. But the major surface drains, say something which is carrying 1 million liters of liter per day of water, which is a diluted sewage only because some people have discharged their septic tank, that gets tapped. The major drains get tapped, and this tap drains through the interception and diversion system is also brought to the same treatment. Third element out there to be seen is that sewage treatment plant is not being designed for 30 years future capacity, but is only being designed for your current population or the population at the end of the mission period. So this will have an advantage that the size of the plant will be much smaller, and we will have we can arrange to spend that kind of money rather than having a massive plant. Advantage of this would be that if the town does not grow, we have not made an infrastructure expenditure. Suppose many of the small towns actually do not grow to that extent when what we expect that it will grow 100% in say 20 to 30 years. Many of them actually the population recedes as the migration takes place. So this is very, very important perspective, that we need not plan for something which may not actually be needed in future. One. Second is, with a modern system, modern technology in place, it is very much possible to have a new STP at a secondary location, which is also helping our decentralization approach. So whenever new area developing, the density increases above a certain threshold, say 4,000 person per square kilometer, we can start planning for a secondary treatment plant at this new pocket, and this will be called a sub core. The one core will be there, another core can also well. So with this mechanism, we'll have a incremental approach. We'll not have a full coverage of sewer network, saves us cost on the network cost, and we'll not have a long time planning for sewage treatment plant. Because second big advantage is that how the technology is changing. Tomorrow you may not actually be needing a sewage treatment plant. 5 to 10 years down the line, there could be something which is there that the requirement of a massive treatment facility would be not needed at all. So we are not going to spend infrastructurally in anticipation for a long term for small cities. So this is our two-pronged approach for used water management under SBM 2.0, and through this we aim to have a efficient as well as effective as well as less costly sewage treatment facility. Next. This is again a typical plan of our urban landscape. Next. So you can see there is some core area of the city which has got a more dense population. Then there are these peri-urban or the outskirts, and then few fringe areas are also there, which are just outside the town. So what we are trying to express out here is that the core area gets a network. These other areas, depending on the population density, you can have an on-site system, or there can be a system which is called small bore sewer system, simplified sewer network if possible. But not all towns will need everything. So typically in a small town like what we are dealing with in our scenario, this arrangement needs to be provided as sewage treatment. Some of this could be even a small bore system, because there could be some very congested area in which there is no existing arrangement, and we need to old city area where absolutely people are living very close to each other. houses are very close to each other. Out there, we can also have some arrangement of a simplified sewer, and but is there so that all your wastewater is not is not allowed to pollute the environment, but it is taken to the sewage treatment plant from the floor area where 70% or 50 to 70% of our population is residing. Next. Okay. Now this was the theory, but what we have actually observed during implementation, the schemes which have come to us and the SLTC meetings which we have attended so far. One is that there has been a claimed lack of finance with some states, which kind of preclude them from taking up the sewer network or the conveyance network. So this lack of finance has been claimed, despite the very clear instructions, promise between the states and the center that in case we set up the sewage treatment plants for these small towns, the networking will also come up, and 15 transformation funds were also available. But still, some states have not taken up this component. And ultimately, sometimes what somebody says that there have been some existing schemes which have come up where the STP has come up without a network, and then the nalas are getting tapped. So these nalas have got very low BOD, as we all know, and what we'll be actually treating at this STP will not sewage, because the sewage is already lost to the environment. We are only tackling for the cosmetic requirement. So rather than that, we should plan very properly and take up whatever is possible so that this challenge gets offset and funding is available, like we said, under the 50th Constitution. If you don't have absolutely no money, you can try to justify it and take it from the Urban Infrastructure Development Fund. But do start looking at into this requirement, at least for the class 2 and 3 towns, the larger of the SBM towns. Then there is claimed inconvenience to people. Some states we have gone listed as well as discussed with senior officers of the cities. They say that we are not laying sewers because there is it takes a lot of time, and then people get inconvenienced. This thing is not there. But on the other side, there are some very progressive states which have got no problems like this. And when we discuss with the citizens of at a local level, when you go to towns and cities and discuss with people, I don't find any kind of reluctance. And individually, he says, okay, in case we can get a better facility, no, we'll rather have it. Same problem could be there for water supply pipeline. Same problem could be there for your road construction. But people always are welcome for these modern changes. Then third is definitely a problem which we also observed and being pointed out, and the government is also very seriously looking at it, that the technical strength which is available with at least with the small and medium towns in this country is not actually matching the need of this used water management as a modern practice. So it is the states are requested to look into this, and the technical strength, the right environmental engineers need to be positioned at all possible points, even in a cluster, so that whatever decisions are being taken are sensible as well as for the benefit of the mission. Okay. Poor techno-economical selection of treatment processes. Dr. Chaurasia would be dealing with this. He's also pointed out earlier also that sometimes we, for the sake of just making a big project, the choice of treatment processes are not proper, and very costly equipment and costly systems are put in place. Lastly, the quality and uniformity of DPR, which we'll be discussing next. Next. Okay, now coming to the crux of this, our suggestion or our observation based on our learnings for management of used water in various types of towns is being summarized in this. In case you've got a very small town, which is a class 5 or 6 town, population ranges from less than 5,000 to 5,000 to 10,000. We expect that only around 1 MLD of wastewater, even at the best, when everybody is being supplied with water supply in the morning of 135 liters, or is drawing water from the borewell of their own property. So we expect that there will be small quantity of wastewater generated by this town per day, which will be less than 1 MLD. And the septage, which is the septic tank contents, which need to be emptied on a daily basis in case there's a system of emptying, it will be less than 5 KLD. So these are the two options which will be available in case we do a networking. So the actual requirement of wastewater management and septage management will be something in between. So for this, what we can propose is for conveyance, you may at this time, because this town may or may not grow, this being a very, very small town, if there is possibility, we need not take up an underground sewer network for such small towns at this time. Instead, we can strengthen the existing municipal drains so that there is continuity, there is lining, so that water which is flowing in these drains is not lost into the environment and causing pollution to the environment. We need to cover these drains in case there is going to be bad water. I'll not call it gray water, but I'll call it a bad water, which is something between a pure black water and a gray water. So if that kind of water is there, you must cover this, because disease is getting spread by animals and insects and such, and also gives a very ungainly appearance. So this needs to be covered. And at a periodic interval, there will be screening of this these pipes of these open drains or these covered drains, so that any plastic waste or any solid waste is removed from time to time. So if this kind of arrangement is required, so you need to strengthen the municipal drains. And some of the towns, definitely every aspiration, if your public is willing to support you, then you can start looking at, even in these small towns, in the core area, some small portion can be sewered, and so that people start getting used to such modern systems, and so that when your town grows, ultimately the people are in they know about this kind of system. It's same like you start providing public buses in your small town, so that people start using public transport rather than purchasing their own vehicles and then polluting the air in the for the treatment part of it. For the small plant, we are kind of suggesting, as well as will be satisfied in case you can provide assured household level or county level soak pit, because when we say treatment without providing a soak pit is no treatment at all. Even if you can try to name it a FSSM, but because septage, 95% of the septage has already gone into the environment and is polluting your environment, so that is no treatment. But in case we can provide a proper soak well, which takes care of the secondary treatment, so this would be possible. Ideally, but where space was not there and the capacity to pay is not there in the household, because like I said, it requires a lot of space. The soak pits require, or even drainage fields need a lot of space, so you can even start providing community soak pits. So this is there. In case of some sorry, I think I've taken a lot of time, so I'll just try to close in a couple of minutes now. Okay, so if there is some other arrangement, so these presentations and these options will be made available to you, so you can have a look at it. And in case there's FSM in this, just go back to the last one. But that is, go back to the last slide. Okay, so if for these small towns, if you are going to deal with FSM, then ideally you should co-treat at a nearest STP, which could be even up to a distance of 25 kilometers one way. That will be economical rather than setting up your own fecal septic treatment facility for this small town. Right? But if there is no nearby STP, a few small towns or even a bigger town along with small town can plan a cluster where we can have a small FSTP, which can at least take up let us say a 10 KLD unit, so that it has some economy to this, and then the other towns can their septage, which is one load per day, one truck load per day, or even less, because if your entire discharge is going to be less than 5 KLD, it's just one tractor load per day, so that can be transported to this cluster FSTP. And if you are totally an isolated town and nothing else is feasible, and still your quantity is so small, a system of deep row entrenchment, which will be the most beneficial system for such a town. Next. So now for a slightly bigger town where the load is 2 MLD to 10 KLD FSTP, in case of you can have the same system, but there needs to be a at least some plan that we are going for a future network arrangement. And then there are for the treatment, there are various options available here, which are very less cost, very cost effective, like the waste ablation pond, aerated lagoon, or the anaerobic baffled reactor. Dr. Chaurasia in his presentation may be covering this. There is a booklet also which we have published recently, which will be coming out, and this will also give you these options. So just please note these possibilities rather than going for something which is very quaint and expensive, and somebody comes in tries to tell you, it can be done. For your kind of a town, this system is absolutely proper. And same goes for the FSM. Just go through this. I'll just try to hurry up. Next. Similar approaches have been prepared for class 3 towns. Out here, we will start asking you to look at, making network as at least in 50% of the town. So this is very important, because if you just, these are towns which have got a population of 20,000 to 50,000 and have considerable amount of wastewater which is being managed, which is being lost to the environment on every day. So if you have some kind of a treatment facility, so that this wastewater gets collected and is being used for secondary purposes rather than just allowing it to flow. So we must at least in 50% of these towns look at a proper system. Next. This is the class 2 town, the largest of our towns, which are got a huge flow of wastewater, almost up to 10 mld, 5 to 10 mld, and a huge quantity of fecal septage is also up to I think around 50 KLD can be generated on a daily basis. So out here, as we are trying to explain, the core area must get covered with this network, and you should have a proper sewage treatment plant. Ideally, it should be as explained in the previous slide, the low cost ones, but in case there is some space problem and others, you can have a look at our booklet, and any STP technology which has been mentioned in the manual can be taken up. The approach for SSM as mentioned here. Next. Okay. Like I was saying, there are two booklets which were coming. One is advisory for FS treatment. It's got, we have learned something from your states. We have learned something from the international practices. There's a UN, WHO, JMP. They also have set up some standards which say what is safe sanitation. So based on that, what is the potential we have learned from that? And based on all these experiences, this document has been published, is being prepared and is to be released. And because one major element in this, what we had found was that the cost of treatment, which was even putting the FSTPs, was very, very, very high in some cases. And based on that, this document will be very useful so that this temporary arrangement till your city actually needs and comes up with the STP, a very proper system and very cost-effective system is put in place, that gets in position. So if once this booklet is, it's a small 50-70 pages thing, so it will be useful. So next. Okay. These are the features which this advisory is coming up. It gives you what should be the approach for use water management, which we have just tried to given a small glimpse of that, and how to start planning and for what should the standards for the fecal septage management, technology selection, design principles and assumptions, and then the costing. This is the key component which you must have a look at, and so on. So next. Okay, next. These are the options which we are kind of suggesting, that there could be two types of low cost system. One could be planted sludge type and non-planted sludge drying beds, and which are very practical as well as efficient for the kind of fecal septage which we are expecting from our small and medium towns. Next. Gives all these costs and such thing. So if you see around, within a what we expect in a small town of maybe 20,000 population, within 30-35 lakh rupees, a very proper system comes up. Out here, what some places we find that people have gone for boundary walls and such thing. Nobody's going to come and steal your sewage and sludge. So fencing, which even for fencing we are given a very decent cost in this document. So fencing is good enough. Fencing for such things. So we should try to optimize the expenditure which needs to be spent on these kind of infrastructure. Next. Quickly move forward. This is all. You can have a look in the document, and we can have. Second document is a type design of sewage treatment. This is a big effort undertaken by Dr. Chaurasia, and it is something very unique. There's a document which is coming up, which will give a complete techno-economic study on various options which are suitable for an urban small to medium town. and which will be very, very ideally placed for the SBM 2.0 requirement, because we have a limited kitty of funds. We need not go for something which is totally out of our budget. So it gives the what is the capex, opex, and what is the area need for various treatment facility, what is the life cycle cost assessment, and all this, what should be a type design of a sewage treatment plant. So we do have a look at it when we actually release this. I think this is final stages of release, and it will be shared with you shortly. Next. Next. Again, if I have a, there's so much to be explained, but these are the 8 systems which have been cleared for uninitiated. WSP is the waste stimulation pond, anaerobic baffled reactor with the constructed wetland. TF is a trickling filter, an old technology which is again being revised. We have had a look at one of the places called also modernly called bio tower, because now you have plastic these arrangements which are modular in this thing. USB is upward anaerobic sludge blanket with a waste stimulation pond. Again, a very, very good time proven technology for wastewater management if we have space. Then the USB with the actuated sludge process. Again, something which is totally generic, totally across the world. The most of the sewage treatment plants, even in the most developed nations, have the actuated sludge process, basic actuated sludge process. So there's no need for us to think of something which is more costly and something. But yes, there are some systems which are equivalently efficient, and in case you can get it at a reasonable cost, so you can use MBBR, SBR also. The technologies have been discussed in this document, so that we should be aware of what is available in the market and what should be a reasonable expenditure on such thing. Again, we have one for these. Also, what should be the system to be put in place in case there is a cost to the land? So it's a two-way, it's a matrix kind of a system which this document tells you. So once you have a look at it, you will be all be benefited, because the matrix will tell you in case the land is costly, but then what small footprint systems can be put in place, and in case the land is less costly, what less cost intensive, less life cycle cost systems will be put in place. So these things are there. And next. All designs have been discussed in detail in the document. Yes. Next.
We will separately also present. So these details we will have a separate session. We can just discuss.
Yes, I'm just moving. Please
Yes.
keep moving forward.
Yes.
So just to give a glimpse that a lot of effort has been put in this document, and you will all be benefited by this. Okay. Next. Not like to discuss the cost here, but everything has been worked out so that you can make a very intelligent call on such systems. Next. Coming to the end of my presentation, this is what I'll just take a moment for you to consider, that the UN monitors all the countries in the world for safely managed sanitation, and they have come up with certain norms, and through their local body, which is our WHO and UNEP in India, they are also preparing a report on India's performance, which last year gave us a very poor number. So you should also take a look at this particular slide to us, that they say that in case you have got a sewer network and then it is taken to a treatment plant, and even if it is up to secondary treated, then it is called compliant. But in case you have an on-site system, then it needs to be having a soak pit. Only then it will be considered as a compliant. So something which is intermediate, you do not have, and the septic tank content is also taken to a treatment plant. So very, very clearly, this same approach is also being practiced with the by CPHU, as well as in the which is given the guidelines for the Swachh Bharat Mission 2.0. So will request you to limit yourself to this particular globally acceptable ethos for wastewater, rather than getting into any other practice which was, for the moment you will find it to be okay, but ultimately it will not be as per the requirement. It will be a wasteful expenditure. So this is what we wanted to make clear with this. Next.
Yes. Thank you, Rohit. Thank you very much. You have explained various aspects, keeping in mind that many new ULB which are going to entering in implementation phase, they need that orientation, and apart from that, many private consultants DPR preparation they have joined, so it was essential. Although those who are very much aware about SBM, they may be feeling some of the things already repetitive, but for sake of all other people, and since we are entering in implementation stage, we thought it is fit to just once remind and explain, so that approach is broadly aligned, whether it is a private consultant or new ULB officials or whosoever come has after transferred another. So apart from that, that approach that has been mentioned, another next important thing that is, and it is a impediment, I will say, in faster implementation is the selection of technology. Often because of standards, that which standard we should take, and according to standard, which technology we should select. This has been one challenge with ULBs, and since many cases they don't have complete know-how, sometimes there is element of confusion because of their all other duties. They often rely on whatever advice they are getting, and in the process, they often end a technology which is not suiting to their given population size, revenue size, technical skill size, and because of that, even after, let us say, construction and it is ready and commissioned, it often helps only to just satisfy regulatory requirement and their visits and other thing. But when it comes for actually operating in the field and treating the, let us say, used water for which this all effort has been done, there it finds to be unsustainable in many cases, and in few cases even people used to bypass also by taking, if it is to be selected. Keeping this in view, just go to next slide. Here we have tried to make a effort that we clear that what is standard prevailing at this time, and commensurate to that standard, what are the various treatment technology that we can select in given different class of people. Already Mr. Rohit has explained different class of cities may what may be options, and that we have developed. Go to next slide, please. We have developed keeping in view and many state people and their constraint. So wide level of flexibility is there, and those things are there. It is not changing. Yes. So one thing that is coming often, you will be finding that maybe whosoever is preparing DPR, because of their, let us say, information they are having, they will come with you that yes, this is NGT norm, we have to follow, and accordingly only one or two technology they are meeting requirements. So we will only in their DPR they automatically put one, and at ULB level that much competence, or at sometime at state level that level of guidance is not there, so they will go ahead, allowed to go ahead with that. Then situation comes in given set of condition, if I just clearly mentioned our approach is not right, we will land somewhere which is, let us say, not meeting our objective. Let us say, I will give with example. And some 2-3 examples I have listed, I will be coming also. If we select a technology where it will be a cost intensive, capex wise, opex wise, so whatever SBM fund is there, that toward this, and matching states here, state also have to give either from their own or maybe from 15 Finance Commission or other sources. So naturally there will not be any fund left for let us say network laying another. So that another thing that comes, you are providing only for treatment and network there is no money. So better even sometime leave this, and our is a small town, let us go for only fecal sludge management. That's it what we can do. So to clear all these things and to just present and simply explain that whatever cost you are spending in fecal sludge management system, even in smaller town also where flow is little, with simplification of things, you can have safely managed sanitation. That approach we are going to discuss here. So first thing is important that this standards ke bare mein we should be clarity. See, in 1986, These standards came under Environment Protection Act under Schedule 6, and these are general discharge standard, whether for land irrigation, public, or let us say this. If we compare in 2015 draft notification norms come and it was sent for comment, but some point of time, some states proactively their state pollution control board even notified rather than waiting for final notification to come from MOEFCC. But they were in such hurry. Here, why I am telling this, otherwise I should have directly come to NGT matter. What I want to emphasize that see, state public exchequer का revenue and resources एक ही है, same है. So state pollution control board sets a high standard. So commensurate to that, with high technology, cost of implementation, maintenance, and skill, everything will go up. Then poor urban development, they will say, I don't have money, how I should implement. Then state pollution control board will run after them, you comply, otherwise I will go and complain in GT. So same set of officer, if once it is posted in state pollution control board, they are doing some sort of, let us say, I will say, bossism on that urban development you do, so I will complain or I will put to task and all other things will be coming. So in that situation, why not? In that situation, why not we talk with each other, means state pollution control board and urban development at state level, if they talk and tell कि all this purpose of standard is to let us say remediate pollution, to reduce pollution, and for that only stringent technology is not the way, high cost technology is not the way. To begin with, in the given condition of our ULB, their technical manpower and other, even if we are doing some sort of technology which is suiting to their requirement, their skill, their finances, and in less cost, and rather than 90%, 70, 80% treating, that will also help our water bodies and environment to get free from pollution. If I give one statistics, you will realize that currently in NGT, Chief Secretary has submitted that sewage generation is around 52,000 MLD. Out of that, only some 22,000 MLD is being treated, rest is being discharged untreated. If this is the situation, then paper may sitting here and strengthening our norms, or let us say state pollution control board setting very high norms, is of no use. Why not we first address that minimum level, even primary treatment is done, 30 to 50% pollution will go at very little cost and with no O&M, no capex, and no skill required. After 7, 8, 10 years, our ULB will get further strong. Their revenue will get strong, their technical manpower will get strong. Over the time, lot of fund has already flown and it is top priority from central government, state government, everywhere. So things will be in a position where we can afford at that point of time whatever the stringent requirements are there. But right now, too high, if we do, that will be a problem. In this background, I would like to mention that some of the state pollution control board notified, and that was a problem with state urban development. Then when it was notified against some vested interest people, they created some let us say confusion in honorable court that it is going to pollute environment and other. They didn't claim that whatever is going untreated, there should be regulation to handle. Each ULB should do whatever they can do. But they went that higher stringent terms, as if in paper it is done, our environment gets cleaned. See, whatever the ecosystem problems are there, we have to move according to that. So here whatever these MOEFCC norms was there, notification was there, revised in 2017, that was somewhere, let us say, state by Honorable NGT. And they suggested that in place of that, they suggested to follow that, to notify, this direction was given to Environment and Forest to notify in the Gazette. But MOEF notified and they went to even court. What I want to emphasize, if any private consultant who is not clear hearing here and there, they are suggesting, please see that all these resources are just like your family resources. If whatever resources are there, we have to best plan. You cannot go and take high-end thing and other people don't get the proper food in a family. So keeping that in view, here also we have to see that NGT order is only to MOEFCC to follow due process and notify. That was never done. So this sort of let us say standard is not existing, and since 2017 one got stayed, so 1986 general standard is still prevalent. इसमें next slide पे please go. I will further explain that why I am telling. Go to next. Here if you see, you might have many people are consultant to NMCG and their projects. They also often say that, okay, in my project you implement NGT order and other thing, but when it comes in January, 10 January 2024, this circled one you see, they are clearly mentioning, provided further that National Mission of Clean Ganga may permit discharge of treated sewage which conform to norms prescribed under the Act. Act means Environment Act, that 1986 I am telling. What they are telling earlier, they have said that condition that after treatment nothing will go to water body and which is being polluted, it has to be utilized somewhere else. But later on they realize that in all cases it may not be possible, so they have re-notified this, and it is very clear as if now you have to follow that whatever provisions are in there in the Act. This I am bringing here because many states when we discuss, they also naturally after that, and everybody tells me you give me in writing so that I can tell to my people and tell, see, giving that writing, whatever certain level of responsibility I am enjoying, publicly I am presenting and telling you, taking clue, you take up with your state government and state pollution control board, rather than waiting that everything I give in writing set with our effort and then only you will implement it. It is a joint effort. You also come, and wherever required I am there, because we are taking lead and we will be there to support that. Go to next one, please. Go to next one. Yes, here again one confusion comes ki you are telling that we should go for 1986 norms and standards and other, but your ministry has brought out that NGT standards should be adhered to. Here if you see clearly, it is very clear that this was brought in respect of Amrut mission, like this case mein they go mission specific, and this was also for larger city for recycle and reuse for various purposes. Moreover, it is a norm. It is very important that we should read whole guideline. In the bottom you will find ki this is a suggestive norms which state मतलब जल निगम्स or let us say state water supply departments, they should consider to implement. लेकिन let us say one state principal secretary finds that these norms के लिए we don't have fund and we cannot go, but whatever norms for 1986 are there, I am going. Nobody can stop. It is a suggestive thing where complete gap is there, something is there, but it is not standard. It should not be quoted and confused. So that sort of clarity. Just go to next slide. Yes, here again you will find this is a letter from State Pollution Control Board. They also clearly mentioning that it is to be mentioned that under provision 17 of Water Act and Environment Protection Rule 3/2, only state boards are empowered to effluent this effluent standard, apart from whatever MOEF have notified for sewage and other, and nobody else can do. Others का केवल सिर्फ नाम होगा इधर. They are only empowered. This presentation I will be sharing because of want of time. I will not go through, but this is very clearly making that 1986 is prevailing over and above. If State Pollution Control Board has notified something that get prevalent, in that case, if somewhere, go to next slide, please. If somewhere very stringent norms are there, so only state urban development has to chip off more funds. Because of that, they should speak to State Pollution Control Board. Otherwise, if you see, had Honorable NGT directed to all chief secretary and principal secretary and told you, okay, you have to follow and give compliance report, then it is fine. But they reach through a channel to MOEFCC to notify, not notified. Consequently, if you see, various state pollution control board has norms which is below 30 according to that. So if you see Tamil Nadu, Andhra, they are having 30, Haryana, Kerala 10, and all other things are there. So need not to be scared. 30 is one thing. Over and above case specific matter mein, you can have a higher standard wherever it is, but higher standard you take only for those ULBs where they have a little bit finances, they have technical capacity, and once it is done, they will be able to operate. Why I am telling, I am coming to next slide. Come to next slide. Yes, next slide, please. Yes, even if you see another example that in case of Lal town in Eastern UP, the State Pollution Control Board of UP along with Central Pollution Control Board, they gave that compliance report because here untreated sewage was area. They complained. After that, they remediated, urban local body remediated, and they submitted compliance to NGT, where you can see from right side second column this BOD, it is compared against 30. Why I am repeatedly emphasizing, because lot of confusion is there and cost intensive proposals, DPRs are being prepared, which is derailing the whole thing. If this problem we address in a simple manner, it is doable, and I will explain. So this will going to expedite and meet our target within mission period and with very little cost, rather than this confusion has been here. Sewer TP, lot of cost required, lot of inconvenience required. This may be in some larger city, smaller city may it is as simple as I will explain. You just see that in next slide. Go to next one. These are the some of the things again I want to share, that regulatory authority, a comprehensive liquid waste management rules they are preparing, where alone fecal sludge treatment will not be sufficient. Each and every generator to department responsibility is being fixed, and very quickly it will come. Apart from that, for various standards, different ministry our ministry has also written, and we are after them, and guidelines CPCB for reuse and biosolids means sludge, that is also under preparation. So this whole ecosystem we are working, and these things will be with you very quickly with rationalized standard and other thing. Go to next one. Next, please. Here 2-3 examples I want to put that will bring a lot of clarity, that whatever our misconception is there. See, we are going to implement this system in a 10,000, 20,000 population, but our seniors have experience of some, like if many cases mein, we are going to, let us say, delay a population of Haryana in Punjab, let us say for example, and if we take complexity of, let us say, Amritsar or let us say Ludhiana, and tell Ludhiana mein we have faced a lot of problem, so in Haryana we cannot implement sewer network. That is not analogy to be drawn. If you see in case of Punjab, few examples we have taken, they have already covered 100% O&M and everything they are doing, and it is not costly. Why it is not costly? I will with one example, that selection of pipe material and technology become very important. Normal case mein, if for let us say 10,000 population, we recommend that for 10,000 population, even if you do 50% networking, in that case 5 kilometer per 1,000, 1 kilometer average comes slightly here and there. So 10,000 10 kilometer is total required, 50% के लिए 5 kilometer we are telling. 5 kilometer if you see this PVC pipe or let us say RCC pipe या HDPE pipe, then this 30-40 लाख से more ज्यादा कास्ट नहीं है, क्योंकि इनमें एक्सकेवेशन नहीं है. वो सायल है, कुछ जगह पे रोड रेस्टोरेशन या पेव्ड है या लेटर से कंक्रीटाइज है, उसको भी 1-1.5 मीटर नीचे करने में 40 से 50 लाख पर किलोमीटर से अधिक नहीं आएगा. 5 किलोमीटर का आपका हो जाता है कास्ट लेटर से 2.5 करोड़ के करीब, और 1.5 करोड़ के करीब एक MLD का प्लांट 1 से 1.5 करोड़, मतलब आप समझ लीजिए कि 2.5 and this 4-5 crore के अंदर में this will be done. In many cases of this 5 FSTP का भी cost they are taking 4 crore, 5 crore. So if you really realize, and this series we are going to do intensively, जिसमें अभी नहीं होता है, and other time it will be more focused. We are not going to repeat all the things, only subject based only things we will tell and explain, so that more confidence comes. So it will be only, let us say, 10-20 slides, but it will be very focused what we are going to do that. If you see, it is doable, and Punjab has already done and policy they have brought. Go to next one. Next slide, please. Yes, here in case of, again, one example, Balot, because I visited, they have even 5 MLD capacity, this waste stabilization pond based. So it should, because of this NGT confusion and standards last 5 years, में only mechanized STP we have set up, we have forgotten all these things, and this was the reason for all 10 technology we have brought out type design for each and every case, so that your people simply reading that they are able to design. Even your engineers will also be able to design simple things, and this neither required too much O&M, not required too much capex. It is doable, and further some more examples I will tell. Go to next one. We are sorry running very late, but I help. Some situation is like that. Yes. Another example I will tell. Other two, you have seen that Punjab Water Supply Sewerage Board is maintaining. This Machiwara town ULB is maintaining, which don't have capacity. And for a small town of 30,000, they set up 4 MLD SBR technology. Within 2 to 3 years, everything is rusted because plant is not being properly operated and they don't have capacity. Now to replace all these things, again equivalent to whatever cost they have given, they have to do. So most of that, they don't have technical manpower, no revenue source, and even no, I will say, many cases may let us say support and fund to do that. In that case, selection of a wrong technology will may land you in a soup, and there will be problem and it will create negativity. That's why repeatedly we are suggesting what is doable for our smaller ULB. Some people may be telling that, oh, CPHO has gone backward. They are thinking, oh, waste stabilization and other, that was 40 years back. 40 years back in like Jabalpur and other, it started with them now, and their population was 10 lakh, 20 lakh, then waste stabilization started. Abhi they have gone mechanized, so we cannot go for 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 population, which is doable and significantly treating also. So this aspect should be kept in mind. Go to next one, please. थोड़ा सा अब इसको हम लोग फ्लो करते जाएंगे, आप क्विकली आगे बढ़ाते जाओ, मैं ये करके बोलता जाऊंगा. सम ऑफ द मेजर ऑब्जर्वेशन दैट वी हैव फाइंड की ओवर साइज एसटीपी एंड हाई टेक्नोलॉजी दैट इज देयर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में many 64 DPR we have examined in 780 states, and we found that these are the common sort of deficiency where we need to handhold and capacity building of those who are preparing. So stringent NGT effluent norms, and then these details of ND, these things are missing. Go to next one. Thoda quick. Yes, one or two example I would give. Let us say, in all 64 we examined various type of problems are there, only just to highlight some things we are telling. Otherwise many projects in UP are also good, otherwise Maharashtra is also good, but something only so that you quickly that what are problems are coming, whatever DPRs are prepared, these sort of things, table of content, these figures, these page numbering, drawings, and the technology proposal, that sort of things are sometimes missing, that makes sometimes difficult to see. And this is the reason we want to standardize what Mr. Rohit mentioned. In DPR, we are bringing content and also checklist that will be once prepared according to that and examined at state level. It will standardize DPR, and it can be done at approval, can be done at a faster rate at SLTC. Yes, here again Faridnagar, this is very important. This 12,000 population, say right now it is 15,000 population, 600 meter IND ke liye 7.5 meter deep they have gone. That is not needed. Even sewer network also they are proposing 7.5 meter deep. Then 9 human resources they are putting for 1.25 MLD. And if you see below, 2 sewerage zones for 10,000, 12,000 population. They are doing an SBR technology. These things, if you see O&M cost, 5 crore is coming, let us say for 5 years, 1 crore per annum. So it means per family have to pay some 3 to. This is unaffordable. It is designed to fail. So such type of mindless things should not be done. Wherever required, each state PMU, they should have arrangement that whatever DPR is prepared, some guiding system should be there so that that can be standardized. And of course, we are going to be there all along now onwards. Go to next slide. Next, please. Yes, this is another example. Here only we want to highlight that for 1.4 kilometer sewer line, 53 manholes has been proposed. So that sort of things should not be there. Things should be done properly. Next, come to next one. Next, क्विक आगे बढ़ाते जाइए है ना. ये पुणे के भी केस में similar problems are there. If you see that what I have explained, this pounding Maharashtra and all other state may be similar sort of there. Here over design 5 MLD, 6 MLD, they are telling for next 30 years and requirement is 2.9, network is not in place, flow will be further less. So why to create an infrastructure which never utilized in its lifetime? So those sort of things has to be kept in mind. Similar sort 1.8 MLD की जगह 4.5 MLD they have proposed, and discharge standard again I am telling capacity everywhere. Don't know what type of threat or fear is there. They are going for mechanized plant which is designed to fail for smaller towns. Either even if it is made to run and successfully operate, huge to be spent, which ULB can be spending in other way. If it is spared, ULB can do other work. So that sort of thing should be avoided. And that's why JS was very clearly mentioning that holistic planning should be achieved incrementally and over the long point of time. So that approach should be followed. These are the things that we are going to standardize. It is ready. We will be sharing in any point of time. We will upload in our website and also share you all. Go to next one. These chapters, etc., and every heading we have done so that nothing is left out. And 1 or 2 or maybe 4, 5, I think we have DPRs that finalized with the state governments, various state government. They look like model DPR. That also we will share and we will upload on ministry website. That we do. Some general suggestion here will tell that nature-based, less mechanized technology to be adopted. That is one thing. Solar pumping, so that solar-based this pumping and other arrangements should be made so that less O&M cost is there, electricity. Centrifuge in many cases to be avoided because they have large capacity ke liye it is fit. For these smaller, it is not fit. And online monitoring also sometimes become a fashion. If 1 MLD plant ke liye whatever plant cost, uska 50% cost we are going and monitoring. We are not able to monitor and maintain, but we want to go online. Such type of cost intensive things should be avoided. 5 MLD, 10 MLD MUP should be done, but not for 1 to 3 MLD. That is wastage of funds. And is related whatever ecosystem changes required, we are going to take up. Go to next one, please. These are some procurement. आप आगे बढ़ाते रहिए. These are some of the standard things that we have already examined 16 documents, 7 states. The main thing that is coming, this bidding capacity, type of bid, validity, and implementation. These are the things that is common and good. But other points where shortcomings are there is relevant SOR is not mentioned, site location map is not there, state region basis discrimination is there. Let us Northeast, if they mention that our sewer network Northeast should have done, not a single player will be there. So in that case, we have to be open and invite the such type of restrictive things should not be there. General condition of contact, special condition of contact, and this RA and this sewage, all these things should be properly mentioned. Keep on moving. These are other things, GST inclusive or not, and then complete built-up drawing, site visit, all these things should be taken. These things we have already developed model tender document, bid document. This we are going to share. It is for treatment plant 1 to 5 and also on cluster basis 1 to 5. Apart from that, IND and STP, that is also ready. So very quickly after approval, we are going to share with that. And these are some of the main things, that instruction to bidders and all other things are there. This is there. Go to next one, please. It is only for glimpse, this document we are sending. And if required, separate session for half an hour we will be taking each subject wise, only specific to that. Go to next one. Yes. Next, please. These bid evaluation criteria and other things are also there. Likely, this is our endeavor to standardize. So maybe pre-evaluation, bid evaluation में what is experience of fund, then what is experience of this PHE sector and other. These are points, and we have given marking so that mostly it is standardized. Go to next one. This financial applicability and experience of key personnel. These are main points have been taken. Go to next one. Yes, next. So these were the something which is ready and very quickly we'll be sharing, and maybe subsequently, as JS mentioned, monthly level pay, half hour, 1 hour session we will be clearing. Now in sharing 1 or 2 best practices. One, this Maharashtra में Karad town का है. This is a really visionary town where they have long back implemented based on waste stabilization plant in 70s, 80s, and now when population has gone to 80,000, 90,000, some last 4-5 years they have upgraded to MBR technology. Before that 30 years it was working on waste stabilization plant. But what is important, they are collecting enough revenue from drainage tax also, and then whatever O&M charges are there, by selling water, treated water, they have formed a society, and through society they are using for let us say irrigation purposes. In most of the town, irrigation is the सबसे feasible I will say, सबसे doable option, जिसमें कि हम लेकर के कर सकते हैं. हमारे टाउन, सारे टाउन के बगल में एग्रीकल्चरल लैंड या वो हैं, उनमें बहुत ही लिटिल एक्सपेंडिचर में laying some pipelines, right, pumping, this can be done and a stored water will be available. So O&M cost and all have developed, and whatever treated sewage is there, they are using for different purposes, flood irrigation, even washing for road, streets, everything they are doing in a true spirit of circularity, where we are working and emphasizing this vehicle washing, all other things. Keep on moving. Yes, please. Yes, move, please. This washing up footpath and other, move, keep on moving. Yes. These 2 things very important. Again, these cases has been referred in Honorable NGT some orders also. Even in Haryana, one town is there, Sirsi, where for 2,400 population, it is a village only, very small, less than our smallest town also. They have done this waste in 30 lakh some point of time, and by doing this, I think pisciculture, they are leasing out pond for fishing, 50,000 per annum they are earning also. So such type of plant ka expenditure, where no technical, mechanical and other thing is required, whatever is coming in maturation pond through earning from by fishing, that will be able to suffice and nothing is required. So all our smaller town, less than 20,000, they can think similar sort of things. They are some sort of, let us say, urbanized villages, not more than that. Go to next one. Next one. This is again that Kurak Jagir plan, where series of this waste stabilization ponds are there. Once it is dried, they are removing that sludge and similar thing, and it is meeting that BOD norms also, 30, 31 and other. And here also they can do this fishing and other things. So what we want to emphasize that initially, let it be. I will, before telling, I will tell example of Haryana. In 1998 and 2000 around, they started this, and even in Punjab also, most of the cities with waste stabilization, USB, aerated lagoon, and such type of things. But now they are upgrading after 20-25 years, when acceptability has come, finances of ULB has improved, technical capacity is there, and reuse and requirement are there. They are upgrading now to mechanize. But in one go, if we start in all ULB, that will not be a successful thing. So many cases where you find that we will take 7, 8, 10 years to develop all these things, have these things. And another question comes that for waste stabilization and other, where is land available? Land is not there. So whatever readily available, we will do mechanized. I will like to suggest that, let us say, for 1 MLD plant, 1 NBR you are going, for one MLD plant in a small town of 10,000, you are going to propose, let us say, SBR, cost is 3 crore. rather than spending in whatever piece of land is there, 3 crore on 1 MLD and similar amount in next 5 year on O&M, 1 and 5 crore you spend for purchasing land, you will get 6, 7, 5 acre ke karib land easily. And after that, in 1.5 crore, you do this waste stabilization or similar other technology. And whatever land you have acquired, next 20, 30 years when population grows, in the same land, it can be upgraded. So there is no litigation, there is no land acquisition, no delay or cost escalation. Every your problem will be solved. And many states, like let us say I have learned Andhra Pradesh, some parts of UP and other also, they are going on this policy. So I urge each one of you, whatever the funding is available, judiciously utilize. And once you construct such type of plants, whatever the fund, in many cases where let us say land is available, you can take interception and sewer network also, at least main pipe can be taken. That also we have allowed. So by proper planning, by reducing cost of treatment, you can have interception and sewage treatment, sewage network also, sewer network also. That will simplify and land. All these solutions are available, and we will definitely engage and maybe state-wise, region-wise explain in much detail. Go to next one. I think this is last one. Go to next one. Yes. So thank you very much. Sorry, we have taken slightly more time and we are running late, but nevertheless, I hope that the states will realize that we want to explain in great detail to all those who have joined, so that we can effectively communicate and align that and standardize whatever the things are there. And of course, from time to time, we keep on taking your view and we change our view also where we find it is aligned and suiting to our various type of ULBs. So thank you very much. Now I request, I think it is a state's thing. So state-wise, Rohitji, maybe you can take one by one state and maybe 4-5 minutes, whatever your standardized experiences are there, challenges are there, they can tell, so that accordingly we will note down and state and combined one to all states also. Over to Rohitji. In between council states, let us. If we invite, let us say we invite from Maharashtra, Mr. Manish Chaudhary, please bring their presentation quickly. Yes, Maheshji, are you able to hear us?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. आ रही है आवाज.
Yes, please. Experiences just share करें and suggest what we should do so that it is implemented in more faster way, whatever the objective JS mentioned. Thank you. Please go ahead.
Next slide कीजिए ना.
Next slide move करिए. अर्जुन next slide move करिए. Yes.
सर ये हमारा सीसैप जो वो सैंक्शन हुआ था, वो हिसाब से हमारा सिनेरियो है. और इसमें हमारे 368 यूएलबीज है जो बिलो 1 लाख पॉपुलेशन से. सर आवाज आ रही मेरी?
हाँ, yes, please go ahead. We are hearing. Yes.
तो सर हमारा अभी करंट स्टेटस ऐसा है कि हमारे 368 में से 48 जो डीपीआर है वो स्टेट स्कीम में नगरोत्थान में सैंक्शन ऑलरेडी हो चुके हैं और कुछ स्कीम का काम भी शुरू है. और अंडर एसबीएम हमने 320 डीपीआर कंसिडर किए हैं. लेकिन मेजर इश्यू हम लोग का आ रहा है सर लैंड का. 192 सिटीज में लैंड का इश्यू है. लेकिन हमारे ऑनरेबल प्रिंसिपल सेक्रेटरी सर ने भी 2-3 मीटिंग्स किए ऑल डिस्ट्रिक्ट कलेक्टर्स टू अलॉट द लैंड एज अर्ली एज पॉसिबल. और प्रिपरेशन में जो है हमारे अंडर प्रिपरेशन 34 डीपीआरस है. और एमजीपी हमारी टेक्निकल अथॉरिटी है फॉर टेक्निकल सैंक्शंस. तो एमजीपी के पास अभी 49 डीपीआरस है हमारे. और हमारे 6 डीपीआर जो है वो एसएलपीसी और एसएचपीसी में भी अप्रूव्ड हुए हैं. तो उनका एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर अप्रूवल भी हो चुका है और 2-3 टेक्निकल पॉइंट्स है जो मेरे टेक्निकल टीम है वो आपके साथ शेयर करना चाहेगी।
जी।
Next slide.
So considering desludging vehicles, sir, we have procured, as in right now we are in the centralized procurement of these vehicles of total 479 numbers, and work orders will be issued for this after the code of conduct. For the next slide, please. Considering the sir major issues as of now for the state of Maharashtra, we are facing issue of the cost that has been sanctioned for the STP of 1.17 CR. As considering the MGPs, which is our technical head, it has revised its schedule of rates from past 2 years. There are 2 revisions, and due to which there is an approximate increase of about 2 to 3 times in the cost of these STPs. So it is means considering that the cost of these STPs is going above that was projected in our CSAPs. Similarly, for the IND components, as we could see that there's part of pumping stations in this as well. So considering the cost of pumping station and piping systems and the weirs and the diversions that we are keeping, the cost is going 3 to 4 times higher considering the 50 lakhs cap that we have kept in our CSAPs. Further, then in terms of giving subordinate components like the compound walls, then water storage tanks, solar, etc., the cost is going higher. Ideally, these are the components will be required for the STP, but there's no clear instructions in the guidelines to whether they consider these components or to not. And as part of the cost of this. As in the total funds, the charges of the PMC charge, then the technical sanction charge and the GST, etc. If we add this cost in our CSAP components, the cost is going very higher. That is, as in compared to what is being sanctioned. So this issue is, as in major, what we say, hindrance to our implementation of the DPRs right now. So majorly, these were our 4 major issues that we need to be discussed.
So one more thing we would like to add, one last point. What we are finding is most of the DPRs that are coming to us are designed for the CSAP also that we have is showing design for 2040. But now from the presentation, ideally 2026 is what we should be looking at, or how should we go about this?
Thank you, madam. इसमें quickly 2 points I would like to. One regarding design year. If we are planning and implementing sewer network and then STP, in that case, sewer network should be designed with 30 year and STP 15 year that capacity. Lekin in many cases where we are taking IND and network and collection, these things are weak. In that case, we are only allowing for 2025-26 means current population. So 2040 things we are not allowing because flow will not reach and capacity will remain unutilized. That is one thing. Solar, another thing is definitely permissible. We are supporting to reduce O&M. Regarding this boundary wall and other, is case may I, if it is a, let us say, waste stabilization or bio tower or aerated lagoon or even similar type of these things, that costly, that boundary wall and other is not required. I think fencing itself will be sufficient, proper fencing will be sufficient. So accordingly, we have to see that cost is also optimized, and the main component of properly treating and discharging, that is taken care properly. Other thing, boundary wall if required later on 10-12 year, whenever our other requirements are there, we can do. It is not going to stop main function of our treatment, right, ma'am?
Okay. Augmentation of STP.
And sir, there one thing, if STPs, old STPs augmentation, whether it will be approved in our funding, from our funding.
Old के लिए अभी right now तो we don't have provision, we are going for new only, but this requirement will keep in mind, right? Thank you.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Go to next one, that Punjab. Punjab में राजवंत मैम, और who is there?
जी सर, यस सर, स्लाइड
Yes. Yes, please bring slide.
हाँ सर, हमारे 56 नंबर जो है ना DPRs were approved for amounting to rupees 1154.96 crores. Out of these 54 DPRs 54 DPRs हैं वो 1232.04 करोड़ की प्रूव हुई हैं अगेंस्ट सैप जो है ना CSAP सैप सिटी सैनिटेशन एक्शन प्लान है वो 56 का, उसके अगेंस्ट हमने 54 DPRs अप्रूव करी हैं। तो 54 आउट ऑफ 54 DPRs जी 54 DPRs 36 टाउन्स जहां में लैंड अवेलेबल है वो हमने अप्रूव करी है DNITs एंड टेंडर्स हैव बीन कॉल्ड। Out of 36, 20 works have been allotted. 20 works have been allotted for amounting to rupees 204.86 crores.
Yes, good.
Sir, for these allotted works, reuse of treated used water proposals have been prepared. Proposals have been prepared for reuse of treated used water for all 56 towns amounting to rupees 87 crores, but yet to be approved.
Excellent, ma'am. It is really heartening to see that out of 56 projects sanctioned, 54 already in various stages of tendering and work allotment. And apart from that, to reuse treated water also proposals are there. Definitely, ma'am, we will be learning a lot from your state and sharing with others. And maybe at some point of time, if anybody is willing, we will definitely request to come and see how Punjab is managing. That will be helping a lot to understand that how sustainably we can implement and also sustainably manage. Thank you, ma'am. We will be there. If you have any issue, that's fine. Otherwise, you will go ahead.
Okay, sir. Out of 20 works, one work 95% of sonor has been completed. 95% completed progress. So other works are also in progress. 2 to 20% nearly in between progress.
Thank you, ma'am. Very nice. Very nice. Thank you. Congrats. Now, if it is there, ma'am, then we can go to next one. Next presenter, Madhya Pradesh.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes. Please go ahead.
Next slide, please. For you of Madhya Pradesh, we are having almost 413 well-being and out having population of less than 1 lakh. Next slide, please. Out of 380, we have selected 353 towns for used water management project because the remaining 27 towns already in the process of the project.
Go back. Go back. Yes, please.
The 27 towns which have been excluded because of the already ongoing project in these towns funded by World Bank and other agencies. So we have selected 353 towns for used water management, and out of 2400, we have approved 2400 has been approved. Cost of the project. The length of IND is 1,497 km and 386 STB will be built in this project. We have approved 153 DPR till now.
Yes, back, please, back.
This side. I'm talking about this side only. So DPR approval has been done for 153 ULBs, which is cost of the approved DPR is 855 crore. And one work order has already been issued in Unhel Municipal Council. The cost of the project is 4.45 crore. Next slide, please. Sir, we have 26 consultants which are already working under Amrit project for DPR preparation, and we have prepared the guidelines and SOP for the DPR preparation and shared with the consultant and all the urban local bodies for the preparation of DPR. These were we have categorized the ULP in the 5 categories, and accordingly we have prioritized the ULP. The approval of DPR in our state is three-level process. First, we have DPR goes to urban local body for PIC approval. After that, the DPR goes to divisional level for engineering section, SE level validation. And after that, it comes to state level ITBC review, and after that, the final approval is done by the commissioner, sir, our state SLPC committee headed by commissioner, sir. Next. So after the consultation of 26 consultant, we have came to shortlisted around 6 technologies for the use water management project, but we have not restricted the project, the DPR preparation for these 6 technologies. We have open-ended. We have left the technology for left this open-ended for new technology to come up in our project. We have allowed joint venture, and for the project which exceeds 5 crore, we have also allowed the subcontracting. Personal maintenance, and also the defectability period is of 5 years. And we have the penalty clause as well in our DPR. If the contractor during the maintenance O&M does not meet the NGT norms, we will impose penalty on the contractor. Next, please. Next, please. Sir, this is the overview of how per state SBM-U and the team has prepared the DPR for sewage treatment. We have consulted. We had 3 levels of meetings with 20 technological partners, and for the IIT, we have consulted the IIT Indore and IIT Bhopal, IIT Surat, and we came to finally prepare the DPR, which has been shared in the presentation earlier as well by the national team. So we want to highlight few points. The distribution of the use water management project. So the content are not there in the project during the execution time. We have impaneled the consultant for DPR person, which are the existing Amrit consultant, to kindly allow, or maybe in general for all the projects that a consultant can be hired for the execution of the project, so that the result can be better. The project can be executed better manner in the groundwork. The cost of operational maintenance can be shared between central government, state government, and ULB. Right now, the cost has been entirely will be borne by ULB according to the current scenario. And since the ULB, the size of ULB is less than 1 lakh, the financial condition of the ULB, which are very less in numbers, or the population of the ULB is very less, the financial condition is also very big. So in such scenario, when we will spend around 2,400 crore of the money to build the STP and IND, I think the ULB will be in a very difficult state of manner to execute these projects during the O&M. So we propose that the O&M cost can also be shared between central government, state government, and ULB. Since these ULB are very small in size. Sir, we have one more request. We have Mandidip and Itarsi. These are 2 towns whose populations was less than 1 lakh during the 2011 census, but these are industrial towns. So we want that these towns, instead of IND, the sewer network can be allowed to build up in this town.
Thank you very much. We have noted that point, and we will be in touch, especially that O&M and other requirement. We are definitely going to see that in what way at any point of time is it possible to help, but that point has been noted. And this second regarding industrial town, please send a letter. We will definitely see, and then we'll be able to tell. I think please go ahead.
Definitely, sir.
Next, Tamil Nadu, Arjun, next Tamil Nadu. Thank you, sir. We'll be in touch. Our team will be in touch, and these 3-4 points we have noted down. We will be back also to you. Thank you, Madhya Pradesh. Now, Tamil Nadu. Is anybody available from Tamil Nadu?
Sir, their JCM is there, sir, but no, sir, he is not speaking.
So in between, you try to contact and then call UP. Call UP. Tamil Nadu अभी हटा दीजिए. Call UP.
हेलो सर, नमस्कार सर। यूपी से
जी।
हमने सर टोटल हमारे 702 यूएलबीज हैं, जिसमें से हमने 670 का सीएसएपी सैंक्शन कराया है सर। अभी हमारे डीपीआर जो है 15 डीपीआर हमने प्रिपेयर किए हैं और 4 डीपीआर हमारे फाइनली अप्रूव हो गए, जिनका हमने टेंडर फ्लोट किया हुआ है। और सर डीस्लजिंग व्हीकल्स भी हमने प्लान किए हुए हैं 34 प्लेसेस पे, जिसमें से 17 जगह हमारा टेंडर प्रोसेस कंप्लीट हो गया है और 9 प्लेसेस पे हमने वर्क ऑर्डर भी इशू कर दिए। सर नेक्स्ट सर, हमको लैंड का प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है, लेकिन फिर भी हमने 151 जगह लैंड आइडेंटिफाई हो गए हैं सर। जो हमारा स्टेट का स्टेटस है कि 50,000 से ऊपर की जो नंबर ऑफ यूएलबीज है वो 69 है और 20,000 से लेके 50,303 और लेस देन 20,000 298 है सर। इसके प्रिपरेशन में जो हम लोग चैलेंजेस जो फील कर रहे हैं, वो सबसे बड़ा है लैंड की अवेलेबिलिटी ना होना एट द पॉइंट ऑफ नालाज। जो हमारा ड्रेनेज है, ड्रेनेज के पॉइंट पे सर हमको जो लैंड मिलता है सर, लैंड बहुत दूर दूर मिल रहा है, 2 किलोमीटर 5 किलोमीटर, जिसकी वजह से हमारा जो कॉस्ट है, कॉस्ट बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ जा रहा है। 2,000 सर।
ठीक है. We are listening.
2,000 का जो लिमिट है उससे बियॉन्ड चला जा रहा है सर। जैसा कि अभी महाराष्ट्र ने बोला था कि कई चीजों पे हमको क्लैरिटी नहीं हो रही है। जैसे कि लैंड अगर कहीं पे लैंड अवेलेबल नहीं है तो हमको परचेज करना है तो वो यूएलबी से ही परचेज होगा। जब वो हमको लैंड परचेज करके देंगे उसके बाद ही हम डीपीआर प्रिपरेशन की स्टेट पे आएंगे सर। दूसरा प्रॉब्लम ये आ रहा है कि एनजीटी के न्यू पैरामीटर्स को कई जगह हमारे छोटी छोटी यूएलबीज हैं जहां एग्जिस्टिंग एसटीपीज है, वहां भी कई बार एनजीटी का जो नॉर्म्स है, एनजीटी में जो हमारे केसेस चल रहे हैं उसको लेके कई बार इश्यूज हो जाते हैं। तो जैसा कि सर आपने कहा है पहले कि नहीं, हम लोग को सिर्फ जो एमओएफ का गाइडलाइन है उसके हिसाब से ही बनाना है, तो हम उसी पे गो हेड कर रहे हैं सर। तीसरा चीज ये है कि जो हमारे यहाँ यूएलबीज हैं उनमें ड्रेनेज सिस्टम भी थोड़ा सा इम्प्रॉपर है, जिसकी वजह से अगर हम सिर्फ आईएनडी करना चाह रहे हैं तो उसमें भी थोड़ा सा प्रॉब्लम्स आ रहे हैं। और सर नेचर बेस्ड में सर लैंड का इशू ज्यादा आ रहा है, क्योंकि उसमें हमको लैंड का रिक्वायरमेंट ज्यादा है, उतनी लैंड हमको एक्चुअली मिल नहीं पा रही है सर। चौथी चीज ये है कि जो हमारे एग्जिस्टिंग सेप्टिक टैंक्स हैं वो एज पर द नॉर्म्स नहीं है, जिसकी वजह से जो को ट्रीटमेंट की फैसिलिटीज या एफएसटीपी है उस पे स्लज को प्रॉपर निकाल करके हाउस होल्ड से वहां पे ले जाना। कई बार जो हमारे सेप्टिक टैंक्स हैं वो उनमें ब्लैक वाटर लीक होकर के ओपन ड्रेन्स में जा रहा है, जिसकी वजह से पोल्यूशन हो रहा है सर। ये कुछ इश्यूज हैं जो हम लोग फेस कर रहे हैं। वैसे सर हम लोग ट्राई कर रहे हैं कि हम लोग ज्यादा से ज्यादा डीपीआरस को प्रिपेयर करके जल्दी से जल्दी उनका अप्रूवल करा के वर्क को एग्जीक्यूट करें। आवाज नहीं आ रही है।
Shankar ji, thank you very much. Regarding this land issue, we are also thinking over it, but I request that at your in your state at senior level, some point I also raised and sensitized them that what may be way out. Isme, since our town planning and country and town planning departments have not proactively reserved land for these things and town has grown up, so suitable land purchasing is only option left because waste once it is generated has to be managed. So how these things will come in a form of scheme, incentive and other, let even state government talk to central government, raise their requirements. So at least once these things will move, then some development will. So I request you sensitize your officers, and if they can come out with some scheme like earlier in solid waste and other some 1 acre land or sometime I think such type of provision was there. Here also similar type of provision is required. So we will be in touch with your team and see that how we can work together and help. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
अभी तो आसाम है नहीं. Assam, anybody is there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, madam.
Yes, sir. So this is the status of our used water management, where so we have, as you know, we have already floated tender for 6 ULBs worth rupees 49.30 crores. Sir, we had total allocated fund of 350.77 crores, including the state share. Now we have floated tender for the first phase. For the second phase, on the 4th of May itself, where you were present, we have given the in-principle approval for 6 more DPRs. Then for the 31 CSEPs that have been approved, for 16 of them, sir, we are already preparing DPR. And for 15 of them, where the population was less than 20,000, sir, we have tried to introduce a model where we can introduce something based on Orissa model of soak pits and this kind of thing. So we have floated an EOI, cluster-based EOI for 15 towns for the like class 4 and 5 category of towns. Then for the phase 4, sir, we have that day you have approved 49 CSEPs, where you have pointed out that there is some problem in the IND length of suggestions, where we should modify the length to 0.3 kilometers maybe for the towns where the population is less than 20,000. So after your hand holding, we will rectify the same and will be good to go with the CSEP, sir, for preparation of DPR, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. I think Assam is one state we are working closely. So here also, whatever the technical and other support is required, we are always there. Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And one more thing I'd like to point out here, sir, we have purchased 54 numbers of fecal sludge, these sludging vehicles so far. However, we haven't used UWM funds under SBM 2.0 because we were running short of this. So whatever was the left out amount of SBM 1, after taking a decision in the high power committee, we have purchased the 54 numbers of desludging vehicles from that amount, sir.
Okay.
However, we are facing these kind of challenges, sir, that there is lack of land somewhere in identification of land. And so the big issue is we are finding is that, sir, because of limited fund with the ULBs, where we have to support them with art filling and approach road, boundary wall, etc. Now that SBM is supporting only with the IND and STP construction, so the ULBs need more fund. And you know that Assam being not a very big state, the ULBs are not very revenue earning ULBs as well. For ONM part also, we have to take the help of the 15 finance tight grant part. So we're a little bit confused about how to support the ULBs in this art filling, approach road and boundary wall. If you can suggest something regarding this, that would be helpful.
Okay, as I mentioned earlier in case that, ma'am, that initially we can start in some of the cases even where there is shortage of fund through these fencing, and later on we can convert in boundary wall because that cost itself sometimes become equal to project cost once this is required. So these things can be done in phases. The main thing that is treatment, that let us start reasonable level of, let us say, safety and these fencing should be there. Later on those things and even office building, residential things that can be come subsequently when even town grow and requirement and demand increases, right, ma'am?
Right, sir. Right, sir.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. We will work together and see that how best we can make progress.
Thank you
now,
so much, sir. And we would require your help in where we have floated the UI for the cluster-based ULBs, cluster-based models ULBs. We would like your help in having some model DPRs for that, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Now, Arjun, bring the Tamil Nadu.
Sir, good afternoon, sir. Sorry, there was a technical glitch, so we could not join earlier, sir.
No, welcome. After a long time, we are able to see because frequently we used to meet. But anyway, I hope you people are busy in implementing. Please share that. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank CPHU, sir, for coming out with these type designs and advisory for technology. I think it was long due. It will be very useful for the ULB, sir. And so moving forward, sir, the action plan for Tamil Nadu was approved for 4,125 crores, sir. Out of which we have sanctioned the projects till 7th SHPC for 1,751 crores. So around 2,504 crores projects are yet to be sanctioned, sir. In that major projects which are yet to be sanctioned are basically STP cum FSTP plants. So with IND works. So I will be just coming to those the works in the next slide, please.
Next.
So right now we have from the SBM 2.0 around 15 STP plants with the UGD network, where the UGSS component is being contributed through other schemes from the state government or externally aided projects. These are basically the bigger projects. So in these projects, only the pumping main and the STP we have tied up from the SBM 2.0. So out of this, all 15 projects are going to be launched in June itself. The tenders are almost finalized. Because of the MCC only, we are waiting to give the final work order. Then STP cum FSTP, 12 works are already ongoing, sir. 80 projects after identification of land and preparation of DPR, everything is ready. So for 92 projects, 12 are already in progress. For 80, they are in the tender stage. So they have been approved by the SHPC. Then DWAT system, this is basically the horizontal gravel based filters. So these we are trying in 2 to 3 cities. So for this also, for all the 8 works, in 8 cities, the work is in progress. Then decanting facility, these are basically small works which we are taking up in the STP to basically facilitate the co-treatment of a fecal sludge. So these works are also ongoing, sir. Then cesspool vehicles also, 300 vehicles were approved in SLTC, and most of the works, 286 work orders have already been issued. Then these are the major challenges which I have already discussed with Chalasya sir and also with Mr. Satish also, that the problem we are finding is basically in the land identification. So earlier, as per our action plan, we had planned for 582 ULBs. As you know, Tamil Nadu has around 649 ULBs. So 582 ULBs we had the earlier plan, but because of the land issues, now we are going for the cluster-based approach, as advised by MAHUA also, CPHU also. So now we have reduced the numbers to 241 ULBs based on the cluster approach. So out of this, around 101 ULBs, 141 ULBs were able to find out the land. 100 ULBs we are yet to find out the land. So I also visited few of the sites. The major problem which I feel is that wherever we identify a land, so the gradient and all for IND works, the gradient and all, if it is not there for smaller ULBs, it will be tough to basically go for O&M. Since if we are giving only IND and going for the treatment, we cannot collect any user charges from the citizens. So my request, I have already raised this point with the advisors are also, that if in the core area, as mentioned in the guidelines, in the core sanitary area, For smaller ULBs, say less than 30,000 population, class 3, 4, 5 ULBs, if for some core area the UGD main is allowed, the sewer main network is allowed in SBM 2.0, it will be helpful for us to tie up tie the other funds also in the state government. As Rohit sir was telling in the initial presentation, he clearly told that the central government cannot take over all the burden, so states has to pitch in. But that being true, but if we want to, we have a major allocation in UWM component. And if we want to make proper use of it, and so that we don't create assets which are not used for say 10 years, 20 years, I think this aspect needs to be considered, sir. That for core sanitary area, for very smaller ULBs, some part of sewer main to be allowed in this SBM, in this UWM component. It will be very, very helpful. And also it will, the ULBs also will be, the chairman and mayors will also be very much enthusiastic in finding and buying the land if the land is not available. Because the practical problem which I have faced is that the lands which we are pressurizing all the collectors and everybody to give the lands, but the lands which are being identified are basically not at the right place. Because if we are putting up an IND, then in near to the major outfall only the treatment plant should be there, which we are not able to find out. So if this sewer network is there, it will ensure the minimum flow to the STP, and the STP will be functional. So that is my only request. So apart from that, as suggested, we are going for the convergence of rural and urban clusters, and for black water management. And we are also regularly registering all the local operators and trying to fix GPS in their vehicles so that basically the cities are ODF plus, and also the no untreated water is let out in the water bodies, which is the motive of the mission. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. One point definitely quickly I would like to respond regarding this sewer network. Two options. One, the within available fund, the simplify way I mentioned, where after saving something from that treatment portion, that can be utilized as a network that is already allowed certain states where their state share was excess and they have already covered sewer network. We allowed them to cover that sewer network also. So that is one thing. But regarding this funding for less than 30,000, I would like to mention that you people should have definitely heard what JS was mentioning, ki holistic planning is required, and whatever fund comes, that can be implemented in stages. So being top priority of Government of India and maybe states and ULB also, we are also at our level trying that some point of time this network funding also comes. So why I am telling this, that planning stage, that provision should be kept in such a way that one component I am constructing, tomorrow if it is coming, that will also be available. So let us hope, और आप लोग अपने तरफ से requirement and other thing at different level pose करते रहिए, let us say, and we hope that some point of time similar support will also be available. In the meanwhile, whatever is available within that, some portion saved out of, let us say, treatment, that can be utilized for core network also, that is there. Thank you, sir. Yes, so thank you very much. We will be in touch with Tamil Nadu and further see that what more help we can provide.
Hello, sir. This is we're speaking from the Maharashtra team. We just had one issue. Can we talk now?
Hello.
Yes, please tell me.
Yeah, so this is with regard to one challenge. The PMC charges technical charge of 1% and GST. Consultants are including this to the base cost, because of which the ultimate cost, approved cost, is really going on the higher side. So we just wanted to understand Are there any instructions, because these should basically be included in the approved cost of the DPR? How should we go about this?
Ma'am, उसमें we have provision in the guideline. You might have seen that some point of time we should come out with certain guidance, but so far we have not come. In between, we have also mentioned that whatever the best explored cost will be there through competitive means, that will be admissible as a part of project cost. So there you have to rationalize, and this point I have noted again. I will raise to directorate that quickly we should come out for certain guidelines, so that state there should not be any confusion or let us say lack of clarity. Right, ma'am? Yes, thank you. Thank you. We right now we will be having a question answer this session also. In between, in 2 minutes, our assistant advisor Satish Kumar, he has prepared some frequently asked questions are not even available in this meeting, or after discussion we are enriching this further. That will also be available. So many of the queries it will be able to address. Just quickly, Satish, go through that and run through that, I will say, rather than discussing each one. One or two important point you can do, and later on we will share with the state. Satish?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Am I audible, sir? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, yes, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. So this very good. I'll just, as it has been said by Chaurashya sir, I'll just run through it very quickly. So these are some of the questions which we had encountered when we are analyzing the DPR, appraising the DPRs of various states, and most of these points has already been covered in the previous presentations also. So here we have, I've enlisted some 15 points. Out of that, I'm just going through the major points only. In this first slide, this population projection, they have a major problem. So what is the population projection method which they can adopt it? So for that, you can either take the country's average, last decadal average, or else your state's average, or else your ULB's average. And design periods, they have a very much, now also we had a question from Maharashtra regarding the design period. So wherever you are going for the C1 network and all those things, you have to go by design period of 30 years, which has been already mentioned in the manual. But whereas for the STBs and all those things, you have to go with the design period of 2026, which is the end of the mission period. So that is the design period which you have to take into consideration. And then in addition to that, yeah, what are the drains? Because most of the cities, what they are doing is they have proposed a plan for tapping almost all the drains existing in the city. But here, as per the SBM 2.0 guidelines, it very clearly states that you have to tap only the major drains. By definition, major drains here in the SBM guidelines, it has been given at us the drains which is having a width more than 75 centimeters. But in addition to that, we have come up with another concept wherever the drains which is having a flow, that is dry weather flow of more than 0.5 mld, then you can propose this tapping arrangement, and you can intercept and divert that one to the STPs. Otherwise, what you can do is you can have a community soak pit and you can treat the water over there itself. And then yes, the next one is actually the desludging vehicles. The number of desludging vehicles, many of the states, they are still having the problem in deciding the numbers. So here actually, as per our calculation, 6 KL capacity desludging vehicle is actually enough for a city having a population of 20,000. So for a city having up to a population of 50,000, you will be needing 2 vehicles at most, and one will be of ULB side and one will be of the private side. So eventually, one vehicle should be proposed under SBM. So this is the thing which you have.
Details we will be sharing with them, and we will include.
Yes, sir.
Next slide.
Yes, and the next, sir, just one point in here, sir. The treatment technology, once again, it has been emphasized again and again during the presentation past. So it has to be very cautiously that would be taken. For smaller cities, you go for the waste stabilization pond like, nature-based technologies like waste stabilization ponds. And for medium cities, that is like class 3 cities, you can go for less mechanized processes like UASB and ASPs. Whereas for Class 2 towns, you can go for sophisticated technologies like MBVR, but most of the cities, they are taking SBR. The problem with SBR is actually it will be requiring more land than MBVR, as well as their operation maintenance cost is also very high. So that have to be taken into consideration. But ASB, in overall ASB and USB combinations of these two technologies, actually it works very well. So you can consider it for class 2 towns also. Next slide, please. Yeah, here the important point is actually most of the cities actually still, most of the states, they are proposing standalone FSTPs either with their own funds or from other funds. So here actually, in this case, actually co-treatment is an ideal thing. There are two reasons I would point out in here. That is, one is actually the fecal sludge as the nature itself is being intermittent due to various reasons. So if you're having a standalone FSTP, it will not be economically viable. So that is one thing. And second thing is actually in Indian context, the BOD level is actually very low when design BOD of your STPs. So eventually, if you're segregating your fecal sludge from your waste or used water, eventually that will hamper the function of your STPs. So eventually adding that fecal sludge into your used water treatment systems, it will be actually having a beneficial effect. So it is actually ideal to treat your co-treat your fecal sludge in the STPs. And then the components required for used water, co-treatment, that you will be requiring a simple desludging, emptying facility along with a ramp, and you will be having a holding tank, or else you will be having a solid liquid separation tank and a pump. This is the for drying the sludge, you will be needing a sludge drying beds, which you can utilize the same sludge drying beds of your STP. So these are the components that will be required. And the stakeholder, this is actually very, very important, because most of the states which we seen as the private consultants, they are being engaged in preparation of the DPRs, and they are actually sitting with the PMUs of the state, and they are preparing it without the consultation of the parastatal as well as the ULBs. But this is not the correct methodology. So here you have to mandatorily involve the parastatal agency, either let it be a PHED department or let it be the water and sewerage boards and the ULBs. They have to be mandatorily, they have to involve, and the agencies who have been hired for preparing the DPR, they have to visit the sites and they have to prepare their DPRs. And the last point which I want to make it is actually most of the, if you could able to, 2 points I have to make it here. The one is actually the cost of the project, and most of this thing, even it has been projected in the last presentation of Chaurasia sirs. So the cost is very, very high. The cost may be higher due to the fact that, in sewer network, maybe road restoration that would have been taken in for the whole width of the road. And then, taking only the stretch of the road which has been mandating cutting. Then the depth of the sewer network would have been considered more than 5 meters. Then manholes, more number of manholes has been considered. Then pipe materials, in addition to HDPE pipes as well as RCC pipes, they would have gone for GI pipes or steel pipes and all those things. So these are the major costs in the sewer networks. Whereas in STPs, ancillary components has been given more costs, like, roads and SCADA and compound wall and all those things. And Maharashtra also had rightly raised this point of this compound wall and all those things. But it have to be gone in the, you have to plan it in the incremental way, not in, all those things. We cannot put it in this at one instance, because fund is really limited, and the ULVs which we are considering it in here are actually do not have any existing facility. So that we have to keep it in mind, and we have to plan it. And then the next point in your STP for the cost, this one is actually the technology, going for the sophisticated technology rather than the nature-based. So that will not only increase your capex cost, it will also be increasing your O&M cost also. So that have to be taken into consideration, and you have to go for less mechanized processes, because the ULBs are actually very small and they do not have the capacity to operate that one also. And the third point is actually the oversizing of the STPs. So rather than whatever it is required, they are planning for the next 30 years and all those things. So that is the thing.
Those points we have mentioned in Koikbar.
Yes, sir.
After writing, you will circulate, and some
yes,
other
sir.
points are there that also will include. So that will be readily available. So
yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for
Thank you, sir.
putting this effort and preparing FAQ. I think it will be helpful, right? So
there was this, there was this one point which we had experienced recently. One chief engineer asked that what should minimum water availability at which the sewerage has to be taken up. So we had a so we would like to point that out to the audience that when somebody says that in the guidelines it is stated that the sewerage will only be taken up at 135 liters per day, that is the incorrect way of interpreting it. What the guidelines of the CPHO manual is trying to say is that even if the flow is not available at this time, you need not design your flow for a for a bigger slope, because if the flow is less, then the slope will be more. You need not do that. You only for 135 liters notional, because at this moment 135 liters is expected to flow in, and 135 liters के लिए you will have to design the network. That is the Manning equation, and the slope of the network will be designed that as if 135 liters per capita is being received. Even if the water is not there at this moment, so that is the only interpretation you need to take on while designing the STP or the sewerage network for the this.
नहीं, इसको भी we will include in frequently asked questions so that
इसको डालना चाहिए वहाँ पे.
yes करके. So
This anyway, we are going to develop this one and we are going to put it in our website, sir. So that is
right, and also circulate to states also.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
now
sir.
we have come to the end of all presentations. It is time for open discussion. Slightly, although we are late, but we are all gathered here. So let us take few questions from, let us say, each zone: southern zone, north, east, and central. And moreover, if some questions we are not able to take, please put in chat box, and also one email address is put here in chat box. There you can send, or even you can send directly to me also. We will collect all those, let us say, your points, your issues raised, and we will definitely act upon it with appropriate level. So maybe from southern states, anybody have any question? Maybe from Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Karnataka, Kerala. If anybody has any queries, suggestion, they can come forward. Our IT team, please help if anybody raise hands or whatever the mechanism is there. Manish, you are there? Manish, yeah. Abhiraj?
Yes, sir. I'm there, sir. I'm opening the forum. Just a minute. Sir.
Okay. So please check if somebody
It's done, sir. Yeah. Now people can unmute themselves and they can say.
Yes. Now it is open to all. Please unmute and tell whatever the query is there one by one. Thank you. If not from south, then even maybe western states, Maharashtra, maybe Gujarat, Rajasthan, Goa, anybody? It appears, I think, from 2.5 hour session, definitely it is a long, but to get adequate feedback and definitely work on it, we will be more closely associated with you people. If anybody from anywhere have any query, please tell. Otherwise, then we will come to closing of this webinar.
Hello, sir.
Anybody? Yes, any query?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, consultant from Maharashtra, sir. Sir,
Yes.
there is one question that in CSAP, some amount has been considered while considering the tentative costing of the ULB for use water management program. So, is it possible to convey that working with us, like exactly how you have calculated or how the team has worked for that, so that it will be helpful for all the consultants to get the exact, what we say, proposal to on a economical basis or whatever the session has been considered, we can consider that.
No, definitely we will engage with your team and share and explain, right? Our Satish Kumar, please note it down. We will engage with some point of time and explain them how we are doing. Any other query from anybody?
10 क्या करके इसको खत्म कर देंगे, इसको खत्म कर नीचे वाले टर्म को, तो फिर हम उसी गाइडलाइन पे हम नीचे वाले वो कह देंगे, हम सिमिलर गाइडलाइंस पे हम आगे नीचे का बना रहे हैं.
Anybody have query? Any query? Any suggestion from anybody? No problem. We will be now having this monthly sort of interaction and we will reach out to each and every state in much detail. Here we have given a broad overview. There we will try to solve as much or contribute as much as we can do, and it will between SBM directed and state government and see that how best it will be useful. Yes, anybody? Otherwise,
some Maharishi, someone is raising hands. I
Sir?
guess. Yes, yes.
Sir, good
yes.
afternoon, sir. Maharshi Upadhyay from Chhattisgarh, sir. Sir, I have two quick questions. First
Yes.
one is, sir, if we are designing an STP for a town which generates approximately 2 MLD of what we can say used water, but there is a legacy water that is coming in from the back end from the Gram Panchayat or the industry level. So then if it is in good quantum, suppose 20 MLD, and the ULB generates only 2 MLD. But at the end point, we need to discharge, we need to treat around 22 MLD. So what should be our approach for designing that particular STP?
We suggest there may be two way. One with the state government, because whatever rural department is there are sufficient fund for rural areas also that can be clubbed. That project can be framed with urban-rural convergence. If that is not materializing or somehow there is problem, then in urban area, this 2 MLD water, wherever it is falling in that, let us say, mainstream or nala, along that interceptor sewer can be laid and collected and treated rather than going for 22 MLD because the fund will not be sufficient for that.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
But
Sir,
could you separately send us this? Could you separately send us this kind of a layout of this particular town where
sir.
the town which you are
Yes, sir.
discussing? Because this question was recently also discussed in a NRCD meeting. So we like to also project back to them, see that there could be scenarios, there could be more non-urban discharge coming into the system rather than only from the urban centers. This is a very important aspect. In case you can just send it to us, we like to study what is the scenario under which such discharges take place.
Sir, another quick question, sir. If we are within the ULB, if we don't have that required land capacity to incorporate that WSP or similar technology, so what should be our approach in case the land is also not available to acquire or something like that, sir? So can we go for the other technologies which are low end or some modified hybrid kind of thing?
No, there are two ways. If suppose suitable piece of land but a smaller piece of land is available, and in that case you can go for technology which fits. But here we have to do that cost benefit analysis. Let us say a suitable piece of land is available, but the cost for STP is, let us say, 3 crore, 4 crore. So rather than going that, in the same cost, 50% cost we can invest or whatever is required for land purchasing, and remaining we can go for less mechanized treatment. So out of these two scenarios, study has to be done and decision to be taken.
Okay, sir. Sir, and in case at the end point where the STP needs to be located, the water quality is within the permissible limit, the used water quality. It gets diluted with the due course of time or trialing. Sir, what should be our approach for that, sir?
बना के दिया तो ये कहेंगे साहब आपका प्रपोजल 10 का था, हमने 10 का सिटी दे दिया आपको.
No, it is already diluted. It is already diluted and milling discharge standards.
Yes, sir. Sir, so do we need to construct STP or we can just what should your
discharge standard it is meeting, then so there is not problem, but individual households then focus should be there because some point of time it is meeting in some larger water body and that's why polluted. Otherwise, BOD level cannot be within norms where it is generated. So then focus should be there to collect that safely and then treat rather than in whatever way it is going meeting in larger body and then at discharge point it is coming within norms. It means it is being somehow charge unsafely. That should be avoided.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Right?
Okay. Thank
Any
you,
other query? Any other query? Any other query from anybody? Two participants, I think, have raised hand.
Raised hand, sir. Waterworks has raised their hand, sir. Waterworks, please unmute yourself and speak.
मनीष उनको एक बार दीजिए स्पीक करने के लिए. Give them. Open that. Unmute their
Hello.
mic.
Hello.
Yes. Yes.
Myself, Vikram from Maharashtra.
Yes.
So, my question is particularly for in peri-urban area, space constraint and budget constraint is there. So how we can specially consider that situation?
Peri-urban area means within urban area, but it is an outskirts fringe you are talking, right?
Yeah.
हाँ तो फ्रिंज के लिए रोहित जी very clearly explained in that approach that in outer area even you can have, let us say, some 20 houses are there, 50 houses are there, simply community soak it 1-2 places, it will be able to take care rather than allowing it to dispose everything. If it is just 100 houses or something like that, graded filter and then community soak it can be there. Like that, graded things are there, and the advisory that we are coming on type design is different variety of treatments are there.
तो वहाँ डाल भी सकते हैं।
Pradeep Garg ji,
Mr. Pradeep, can you please mute yourself? Mr. Pradeep ji, Pradeep Kumar Garg,
please थोड़ा सा म्यूट कर दीजिए, voice is coming. So like that we can make, there will be a combination of things in peri-urban area, some patches are there, or even in that case some small interventions, as I mentioned, let it be if small is there, that can be separately treated also with a small lagoon or maybe a bio tower, उसमें कोई खर्च भी नहीं आएगा, there will not be problem also. If quantity is large, then it can be supplied with other part where some treatment plant is there. So consultant will definitely do and tell that which is economical. That permutation combination has to be seen, and the type design that we are going to share, that is containing for different scenario solutions. That I think will help. Very shortly, final at least for comment we will circulate. That is more or less design will remain same. So from there you people will get a clue, right?
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Any other query?
Sir, Omkar is right from Maharashtra PMU team. Sir, as in for the IND specific, will there be any do's and don'ts that can be shared for us? Because the cost component of IND right now is considered in kilometer basis, but in our case, there are few pumping mechanisms also provided under IND. So the cost is varying at a larger scale. So if few things can be cleared on what things can be taken under IND wala part, will be more helpful.
ठीक है, I got your point. See, frequently asked question में तो we are going to include, but यहाँ पे जो आप बोल रहे हैं, because of some topographical challenges, some pumping is also coming, and whatever normative cost is set there, it is exceeding. So in some other town where it is there is saving, that cost can be taken and it can be implemented even at higher cost. So interchangeability or fungibility, that option is available, right?
में कर सकते हैं क्या changes?
So just to add your sir, actually this pumping cost can be it can be merged with the IND cost, but pumping cost we should not be going for some fancy structure and all those things. It should be a minimal structure, because your pump, it will not be costing around per MLD, it will not be costing around more than 3 to 4 lakhs. And then that structure, that wet well and all those things, it should not be costing more. So don't go for any fancy structures, but go for some minimal structures.
Okay.
So whatever the cost which we have allocated, that 50 lakhs per kilometer, so that will be sufficing your needs, I guess. That includes pumping.
Sir, as mentioned by Chaurashya sir, as one ULB's fund can be diverted to others, is it possible?
It is possible if their infrastructure is there, or let us say a 10,000 population is there, let us say wastewater is going in 3-4 direction. So it is not economical to tap and bring at one place and treat it, required decentralize in 2-3 directions. So each one may be 100 KLD, 50 KLD. For that, small decentralized type of plants which is non-mechanized can be implemented. And here whatever the fund saving will be there, that can be diverted. It is not that one after sanction one town का जो भी fund sanction है वहाँ नहीं लगाएंगे, we will transfer somewhere else and implement. That is not there. The crux is that some cases में जहाँ पे lesser intervention required, because we have sanction on normative basis, so whatever fund is left over, that can be utilized, surplus, right?
Sir, as in for this IND specific, the DA, as in only 50 lakhs of per kilometer cost is sanctioned. But what our DSRs, as in Maharashtra state is using, is minimum 1 CR for this 1 kilometer wala part. Minimum 1.5 is the range. So how it will be matched?
नहीं देखिए उसमें डिपेंड करता है डायमीटर एंड क्वांटिटी किसके लिए अलग अलग के लिए होगा, एक फिक्स नहीं होगा. इट इज डायमीट्रिक सेंट्रिक. इफ इट इज 500 mm डायमीटर, 1000 mm डायमीटर, उसका कास्ट अलग होगा. जहाँ पे 300 400 mm डायमीटर और कम फ्लो के लिए अलग होगा. तो कहीं पे उसमें डाउट हो तो उस पोर्शन पे यू कैन डिस्कस विद आवर टीम, दे विल हेल्प यू.
ओके सर.
ये भी अब हमें दिखाइए कहाँ पे है ऐसा लिखा हुआ 1.5 करोड़ वाला, किस बेसिस पे है. There must be some detail to this. We also done our verification and from multiple DSRs. There's no reason for a IND structure which is not supposed to be very deep inside. The IND structure is just next to the outlet portion. So वहाँ पे there's no question of depth. It could be a part of it could be you could say seaward covered drain, and part of it can be the open drain also. The aim is to make sure that everything goes to the in the correct direction where you intended to go. But we like to have a look at this, and there has to be no reason. आप ये सोचिए कि एक नॉर्मल विलेज रोड बनाने के लिए जो कॉस्ट है तमिलनाडु का what is the schedule of rate is only 40 lakh rupees per kilometer for a village road. This is our IND structure, such a complex structure for a small town which has got maximum 10 MLD flow in even for 1 lakh population. So let's be very realistic on this, and we like to have a look at the document because it cannot be for one size or one cost fits all.
And just to add one more point, actually here we are talking about the smaller diameter pipes. We are not talking about 500 mm and all those things, which is these kind of cities which will be needing only 250 to 300 diameter pipes. So that is what you have to keep it in mind. And moreover, these are all HDPE pipes and RCC pipes, not other pipes. So please take that one into consideration while designing those systems. And moreover, regarding just one more point, sir. Regarding the transfer of funds, it will be based on your DPRs. It will not be based on your CSAPs. Whatever the cost that has been allocated based on the CSAPs, it is actually a preliminary. So that will be that can be revised based on your DPRs, final DPRs. So during implementation also there might be some changes in the DPR provisions. So that you have to keep it in mind, and with intimation to the ministry, you can revise the cost, right?
So, is there any process to verify whether the CSAP cost is we can change that cost, or any application to be given?
CSAP is just indicative cost. Whatever it has been approved in your DPR is the final cost, and even after the approval of your DPR also in site actually there might be some changes. So that also can be done. So if there is a saving in one city, that can be transferred to other city. So whatever the cost that has been provided by the central as a central share as well as the state share, that will be more or less, it will be meeting your requirement, right?
So sir, the final approved cost will be as per the DPRs that are getting approved, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But so in our case, in most DPRs, the IND cost is exceeding the CSAP cost. So even then, this will get approved.
Madam, as long as your share, your central share is, central amount that has been sought, which is not exceeding your central share, central allocation, we do not have any issues. But it should cover all the cities of the states, whatever the rates you are taking. But in most of the cases of these cities, the diameter, we don't expect it to go beyond 250 to 300 mm, and you have to go only for this HTP and RCC. So that will not, because per kilometer cost will be in the range of 10 to 12 lakhs only, 10 to 15 lakhs hardly. So your pipe cost will be almost 25% of your overall project cost. So that means within 50 lakhs you can go for this thing and you can implement the project. So that is our understanding, and that is the studies and all those things also quote the same thing. So you can revisit, madam, and if you have any doubt, then your team can sit with us for a day, and we can have a one-to-one meeting and we can finalize that one.
Yeah, I think we'll possibly discuss one DPR for IND with you so that we also get some clarity on this. Thank you.
Right. Thank you.
So one last question. I'm Sandeep Dhamne from Feedback Infra. This is regarding, now everyone is talking about STP, but that recycle water, as per AMRUT 2 guideline, it is 20% to be used by the domestic and 40% by industry. It's just a guideline. But is it possible for MoHUA to put some kind of a mandatory norms or mandatory things on all the industries, or I can say for the households, something like?
No, it is
Because
already
those,
there that recycle and reuse for all the ministry, whatever the project that has been approved by Government of India, you have to recycle it for 20%, but that includes agriculture also. Does not, we are not speaking about the industrial use. So we have
small towns may will prefer you just give it to the agriculture, which is a neighborhood of your town, or even within the town there could be enough agricultural areas, because small towns or rural areas have got that kind of layout. So we need not go for very complex arrangement. In case there's an industry which is adjacent to your small town, and in case they can offtake this water of you, because the quantities are so less, you need not be planning for complex situation. SBM, when Amrut speaks about a mega city, they have to look at various things where the entire water of that city may not be may not be possible for agriculture to take it entirely. So वहाँ पे they have to do all this micro planning. Out here it is very easy. Within 2 kilometers outside your town, all your water can be discharged in case it can be made available to the agriculture.
okay.
हेलो हेलो
Yes.
सर, एक क्वेश्चन था, वापी से बोल रहा हूँ सर, गुजरात। हेलो।
Yes, Gujarat, please go
जी
ahead.
सर, मेरा क्वेश्चन सर ऐसा है, वो हाउस कनेक्शन से रिलेटेड था। जैसे हमारे यहाँ पे कुछ स्लम एरिया है जहाँ पर कि जैसे चालियाँ बनी हुई है, तो उनके वहाँ पे जो 0.75 या उससे भी छोटा 30 सेंटीमीटर या 40 सेंटीमीटर का छोटा छोटा नाला बना हुआ है। अब जब डीपीआर जब बनाते हैं तो उस टाइम पर जो जीरो चैम्बर जो होता है, जो पहला चैम्बर, उसका लेवल 1 मीटर डेप्थ का ही है, और जो एग्जिस्टिंग जो ये स्लम एरिया है उनका टोपोग्राफी के हिसाब से उनका डेप्थ थोड़ा नीचे है, मतलब लेवल मैच नहीं करता है, और उनका जो पानी है वो स्टॉर्म वाटर ड्रेन के थ्रू बाहर जाता होता है। तो वो जो स्टॉर्म वाटर ड्रेन है उसको ही अगर हम लोग डायरेक्ट मैनहोल में अगर कनेक्ट करते हैं तो उस तरह से मतलब प्रोविजन अगर करें तो चलता है, क्योंकि पानी अगर अल्टीमेटली हमारा पर्पस तो वही है कि हमको वहां तक लेके जाना है। जस्ट ये कनेक्शन से रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन है सर।
वो आपका इंजीनियर बता सकेगा कि ऐसा टाइप का अगर आप अरेंजमेंट करेंगे तो बारिश के टाइम में आपका जो बाकी सिस्टम है वो फेल होना शुरू हो जाएगा, बिकॉज स्टॉर्म वाटर तो बहुत सारा पानी लेके जाएगा। तो ऐसा मतलब इंजीनियरिंग इसका कोई सोल्यूशन नहीं है। लेकिन आपका जो जस्टिफाइड पॉइंट है कि आपका जो इनलेट आ रहा है ऑफ द स्लम, दैट इज लोअर देन द इनलेट ऑफ द रिसिपिएंट इनलेट ऑफ दैट मैनहोल, उसके लिए आपको थोड़ा प्लानिंग करना पड़ेगा। और अगर ऐसा सिचुएशन आ चुका है कि वहां पे एक सीवर ब्रिज चुका है जिसके एक पर्टिकुलर मैनहोल है, मान लो उसका डेप्थ 2 मीटर पर चल रहा हो रहा है, उसी के पास आप स्लम को जोड़ना चाहते हैं, तो डेफिनेटली वो वहां पे नहीं जाके मिलेगा। तो अगर ये लो लाइन स्लम है तो इसमें पंपिंग को छोड़ के तो और कोई प्रैक्टिकल अरेंजमेंट है नहीं। उस मैनहोल को तो मैं डीपर कर नहीं सकता, बिकॉज वो तो मेन सीवर लाइन में और जाके डाउनस्ट्रीम पे इफेक्ट डालता ही जाएगा। तो इस तरह के इंजीनियरिंग सोल्यूशन जो है वो ग्राउंड के ऊपर आपका जो इंजीनियर है वही आपको बता सकते हैं। यहाँ पे एक हाइपोथेटिकल सोल्यूशन और उसके ऊपर डिस्कशन हम कर रहे हैं।
ओके ओके सर।
हेलो
जी
हेलो
सर।
सर, सर हमारा एक क्वेश्चन है कि हम कुछ यूएलबी से काम कर रहे हैं जहाँ पर हमारा डीपीआर टीएस हुआ है, और पोर्टल पे एसबीएम के पोर्टल पे जो सेंट्रल का पोर्टल है उस पर यूएलबी को ऐसा दिख रहा है कि सेंट्रल की टीम ने उसे रिजेक्ट किया हुआ है। स्टेट ने उसे सबमिट किया सेंट्रल को और सेंट्रल ने उसे रिजेक्ट किया है, ऐसा दिख रहा है। तो इस पे क्या एक्शन लेना है और इसका क्या मतलब है, ये समझ नहीं पा रहा।
कौन सा है टाउन
ये मैदर की है सर, सोलापुर डिस्ट्रिक्ट में, लोनंद है सातारा
अलग से
डिस्ट्रिक्ट
इसी
में।
में अपने ये जो साइड में चैट बॉक्स है इसमें डाल के डिटेल भेज दीजिए, हम उसको चेक कर लेंगे। ऑफ एंड तो अभी क्या
नहीं,
बता
वही जी मैं बताता हूँ क्या है वो। एक्चुअली CSAP को हम लोग अप्रूव कर रहे थे इस पोर्टल पे। सो व्हाट एवर वी हैव फाइनली done brought to NARC, there may be slightly change compared to what they proposed. So we have rejected, means there is no other way to seek their comment. We rejected them so that they can fill up what is exactly approved, and that sheet is already provided to state government. Once they fill up and send, we will accept. So it is not like a project we have rejected, it will not be taken up. It is only because the concerned format it was not meeting, we have rejected. That is way of communication with the state, and once they fill up, we will accept that.
Okay,
right?
the state have to do it, no?
Yes, state has to do it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
ठीक है, thank you. Any other query? Otherwise, you can send on chat box. Already we are running late. So I request Rohit ji to give that remarks and close that. Yeah? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And it was very good to see this very energetic participation by all of participants across the country. And we thank you from bottom of our hearts for this, because our efforts have been reciprocated by your participation. So thank you very much. We especially thank the senior officers from the states who have given us their knowledgeable inputs, and which has helped us as well as the other states through this mechanism of cross learning to know what are the good practices and others and the limitations which other states are facing. So every learning is a good learning. So we thank you all. We especially thank the Joint Secretary and the advisor for having taken their time from the busy schedule, have guided us. I'll also like to thank my colleagues, Mr. Satish, Mr. Ashish, and Mr. Manish, and others who have taken effort to prepare this event for today. So again, I thank you everybody and wish you a very good day.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rohit ji, and thank you everybody. We close the meeting. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.